Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Mostly sunny today and a top of 22. With the 6 o'clock news, I'm Mel Usher.
Keep your body in shape with Physio Extra Clinical Pilates and group exercise classes. PhysioExtra.com.
Makeshift funeral pyres are being built in India's capital as crematoriums reach capacity amid the country's COVID crisis. Vital medical supplies are starting to reach the country. Australia is offering humanitarian assistance, including ventilators and other medical equipment. The End COVID for All campaign's Matt Davis is welcoming Australia's offer of help, saying we can't shut off to other countries and let them fight the pandemic alone.
This critical support announced by Australia will save lives and directly assist nurses, doctors and health workers to ease and prevent this awful outbreak.
India's COVID death toll is nearing 200,000. Overhaul our hotel quarantine system. That's the call from experts while flights from India are suspended. The Public Health Association of Australia says we need to better manage the risk of airborne transmission and unify the different state systems. At this stage, travel from India is paused until May 15. More than 2,000 Olympic and Paralympic athletes and staff will get their COVID vaccinations earlier than planned. National Cabinet has agreed to put those travelling to Tokyo in July in the 1B group. That places them in the same category as older Australians and those with underlying health conditions. AOC Chief Executive Matt Carroll says it's a huge relief for athletes.
It takes another weight off their mind. It allows them to continue to focus on their preparation. I mean, it's been 5 years almost. Certainly the last year, the fifth year has been the longest, I dare say. So I think it'd be welcome, not only just for the athletes themselves, but for their families, so they know that they're going to be protected against getting ill.
Americans who are fully vaccinated against coronavirus no longer need to wear face masks outdoors unless in crowded settings. Nearly 96 million people in the US have received their required doses, but US President Joe Biden is urging more people to receive the shot.
For those who haven't gotten their vaccination yet, especially if you're younger or think you don't need it, this is another great reason to go get vaccinated now.
There are growing concerns about the effect technology is having on our kids. Nine's Lauren Howarth reports.
A study shows 4 in 5 school children own at least one digital device, and almost a third of them are taking it with them to bed every night. Parents say they're worried about how this is impacting their children's sleep, as well as their interest in playing outdoors. The study has been published by the Guernsey Institute for Education at the University of New South Wales. A professor involved in the research has told the Herald 90% of parents admit they are distracted themselves, and this raises questions about how they can help their kids.
The Queen has carried out her first official public engagements since the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral, Her Majesty holding 2 virtual audiences from Windsor Castle. And the Flintstones are making a comeback. A sequel to the original cartoon series has been announced. Bedrock will be set 20 years later and focus on the now grown-up Pebbles. Now to FIVEaa Sport.
Save up to 15% on selected Asco cooking appliances at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Local football leagues are set to follow the AFL's firm stance on concussion. Nine's Adam Pont reports.
The 12-day layoff for players at the highest level will be implemented across dozens of suburban and junior competitions. The mandatory week off for head knocks will be extended to all local leagues controlled by the AFL, with players required to obtain a medical certificate before returning to the field. Officials hopeful all the country's 270 leagues will eventually get on board. The AFL has also appointed 2 full-time concussion experts to lead development, research and education.
Meantime, AFL clubs will travel exclusively on charter planes for at least 4 weeks to minimise the potential of impact of COVID-19 outbreaks on the season. The rugby league revolution of Peter V'landys isn't over just yet. A dual conference competition is now being discussed at League Central. The concept would include an extra 2 expansion teams and has the backing of South Sydney coach Wayne Bennett. To tennis, and the All England Club has announced that the Wimbledon Championships will go ahead this year. Crowds will be capped at 25% of capacity. And there's about 15 minutes to play in the opening leg of the European Champions League semi-final tie between Real Madrid and Chelsea. Scores are currently locked at 1-1. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
Mostly sunny for your Wednesday, 22. Mostly sunny tomorrow, 24, up to 26 on Friday. Right now it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday on 5AA Breakfast. Coming up on the program this morning, Sean Fuster will join us. We'll go round the courts. Tom Duday from the Adelaide Football Club, the Premier of South Australia, Stephen Marshall. We'll speak with MLC Kai Ma as well about the latest push to introduce voluntary euthanasia law into South Australia. That's all ahead on the show. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. As an avid player of Scrabble, I'm always on the lookout for a new word. Today's new word, and I've got to say, this is very handy because I can imagine this letter combination coming up, and also I can equally imagine staring at my tiles thinking, well, that's useless. I can't make anything with that. Perigee. Perigee. Now, that's an 11-point word in Scrabble, which if you had done a triple or something would be pretty nice. Perigee is the scientific term for when the moon comes within 580,000 kilometres of Earth.
Mm.
And it's at that point that you get a pink supermoon.
358 Ks from Earth at the moment it is. It happens 12 hours after the last...
No, 358,000 Ks.
358K. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you said 358.
No, K is in 1,000.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I thought you meant, look,
no,
as close as Mount Gambier.
Yeah, the distance is actually staggering. Earth to the moon, our whole sense of perspective in the solar system's out. All the planets in the solar system would fit between the Earth and the moon.
Would they really?
Yeah, it's hard to wrap your head around that because you just know the size of Jupiter and these sorts of things. But it is a vast distance. So there's the perigee is when it's at the closest. I think it's apogee is when it's at its furthest away.
Oh, okay.
And so now it's at its closest. Hence we get the supermoon. Still no sense of where pink comes into the equation. 82230000 is the number. You can text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. This has become a nice little tradition on 5AA Breakfast. When there's a nice sunrise or there's some kind of constellation or stellar event, it sort of becomes photographer's corner first thing in the morning. So what we'll do is send us pictures. You can send them to the at 5AA Breakfast Twitter account as well. We'll put them up on the 5AA Breakfast live stream this morning as well. So you can share them to we'll get as many people to see your wonderful work as possible. I bet there's some absolutely stellar pictures of the supermoon.
There's some good pictures on the Tysers website that people have been uploading. Well, the word apogee exists. It's got another meaning in English, which is like the high point of your career, or at the high point of someone's creativity. You'd say that Beethoven's fifth was the apogee of the composer's output.
I guess it sort of relates to distance, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's the high point.
The high point, yeah, which kind of makes sense.
It's the farthest point for the moon.
Yeah.
But we don't use I've never heard the word perigee.
No, we don't.
So you wouldn't say that whatever really bad pieces of music Beethoven wrote were the perigee of his career.
The fourth quarter was the perigee of the Crows weekend.
Oh, pretty much the entire second half was the perigee. The second quarter was the apogee. I would happily watch the apogee quarter again.
Look, I'll tell you what.
In a row, no points.
If you can call us at any point today,
football suck,
and you can work apogee or perigee into the sentence, bonus points to you today on 5AA Breakfast as well.
Mystery word.
82230000. We've got text coming through on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line already. Sue in Christie's Beach says, that moon. I went out the back with a dog and our patch of sea view was lit up.
It'd be beautiful down there.
Amazing. Well, Sue, don't describe it. Don't create a word picture. Take an actual picture.
Yeah. We're a visual medium too these days.
Exactly right.
We got our own little TV station.
It's
like Wayne's World in here.
It's actually frighteningly like Wayne's World in here.
Party on, Will.
10 after 6 news headlines coming up in just a moment.
How do you know you're in South Australia? Well, we make a great coffee with Festival Mad. And we have Leader computers. Yep, world-class Leader computers are made and serviced right here in Adelaide.
It means everything you need for your business or home computing is local, not overseas, not interstate. So if something does go wrong, there's no runaround. Live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. To find your local dealer, visit leadersystems.com.au.
For over 36 years, Steinborner certified cars has always exceeded expectations on value, service and selection, and that continues. That's why it's always well worth a trip to Steinborner certified cars in Gawler, Nuriotpa and Clare for great deals on new and demo Hyundai, Ford and Mitsubishis, plus SA's biggest and best range of used cars. Make the trip to one of Steinborner's 8 dealerships or view the whole range of cars now at steinborner.com.au and join the thousands who know. Steinborner certified cars. It's well worth the trip.
Now, you might think it's hard to get excited about shelving. Well, you'd be wrong. You certainly haven't met me. I love talking about Charmin shelving because it's an outstanding product made right here in Adelaide in the northern suburbs. Charmin shelving, it works all over your home too, from the garage to the patio, the kitchen, the laundry, the bedroom, and in my case, out in the backyard. This thing, it looks brand new. It's been sitting out the back for getting on for 18 months now.
It's indestructible.
It is.
That's why.
They say that about the Toyota Hilux. Well, this is the shelving version of that.
There will be archaeologists 5,000 years from now going to your house like Tutankhamun's tomb and going, there's nothing left, but what in the hell's this?
That looks new. Everything else is gone. This looks like the site of a former civilization. So if you've got a space that needs the Charmin touch and you're planning for, lasting immortality, ask Christine or Bill for a free measure and quote, or you give them a buzz, jump online, or do what I did. Just go out there, 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens, take a rudimentary diagram, say, can you build me one of these? And they'll probably say, we've already got one. Here it is. Visit charminshelving.com.au. Take a look at everything else they do. charminshelving.com.au.
At Lendlease Retirement Villages this May, the kettle's on for personalised tea and tour appointments. See homes, community spaces, or learn about contract options. To book, visit teaandtour.com.au or call 1800 550 550.
You all set for retirement, mate? Yeah. My sis will look after me. Claire, did you win the lotto? Not my sister. My CBUS super income stream. Sis. Right.
With as little as $80,000 super, Sis works with the pension to provide a steady paycheck even after you retire. CBUS, for all of us. To consider if CBUS is right for you, go to cbussuper.com.au for a PDS.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
13 after 6, thanks to Nick for texting in. In North America, the April full moon is known as a pink moon, not actually pink in colour. According to folklore, it's named after the first pink flower of the season.
Yeah.
So that hence is the name pink. We're learning things this morning on the program, like the perigee and apogee of lunar orbits. That's right. If you missed the first part of the program, it got very literary. So what we think we would do, why not? For 822 give us a call and try out the most clever word you know in a sentence. Just drop it into conversation with us. What is the word you get to use the least? Your most clever word that you've got in the arsenal.
Have you got a word?
I think I used apogee a moment ago. I feel good about that.
Yeah, well, that's true. And you knew it already, didn't you? You didn't have to look it up.
I spend too much time reading NASA's website, David. You know me. You know how I like to have fun.
I reckon my favourite pretentious word that I'd never use on air because it'd make you sound like a tosser, but I think it's such a great word, and it's a word that's been borrowed from French into English, but it's still in French, is sang-froid. It's really hard to say.
Yeah.
S-A-N-G means blood in French, and F-R-O-I-D means cold. So it means coldness of blood, but it doesn't mean like flint-hearted or callous or cold. It just means someone who's incredibly cool under the circumstances.
Right.
So someone who's just unflappable, totally unflappable, but it's sort of beyond unflappable. It's like, I don't know, like Dirty Harry Callahan or someone. Just someone who can't be got to.
That's a perfect entry. That is a perfect entry. 822 What's the most clever or pretentious word? Oh, that's a nice way of phrasing it. You never get you. Maybe you don't like use it. Maybe you're afraid of using it. Maybe the situation doesn't come up. Well, it just did. Give us a call right now. 8223 Meanwhile, we've got news headlines to get to. Australia is sending ventilators and other medical equipment to India to help the surge in coronavirus cases. Crematoriums are reaching capacity, with the country saying there are more than 300,000 new infections every day for the past week. You expect, too, that statistically their capacity to track new infections now is being outstripped by the new infections. So 300,000 would be the low point, I imagine.
Yeah.
How many tests can they feasibly be doing at the moment? There wouldn't be enough to keep up. So it's got to be a larger number than that.
If you want to see the human scale of it, I'll tell you, this is one of those photographs that stays with you. The photograph on page 4 and 5 of today's Advertiser of these funeral pyres in India it's one of...
It's a pretty confronting image.
It's absolutely heartbreaking. It's terrible. Those poor people.
Labor says the federal government has not done enough to support Australians stuck in India. All flights from the country to Australia have been suspended until at least May 15 because of an out-of-control COVID outbreak. Here is Penny Wong.
I sympathise with Australians overseas who are stuck overseas, who have not been able to get home and who frankly have not been supported sufficiently by a government who is prepared to step up and ensure we had safe national quarantine. That has always been the key to getting Australians home safely.
And here's the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison.
We recognise that this has been a very significant outbreak in India. The number of cases continues to increase. 325,000 new COVID cases on the 25th of April on Anzac Day, and over 2,800 deaths.
The proportion of Australians with a gun licence is almost halved exactly 25 years after the Port Arthur massacre. A report from Sydney University shows civilians own 3.5 million firearms, an average of 4 per licence holder. The legacy of the worst day
25
continues,
years ago,
doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we had that conversation the other day. There are some concerns that some of the gun laws might be being watered down.
Well, there's, particularly in the eastern states, in Queensland and New South Wales, there's a lot of organised activity around shooters' parties now. But I still think overwhelmingly public sentiment on that issue would be exactly the same and possibly even a little bit tougher than it was at the time when we see the country we are versus the country that the United States continues to be, where they have one of these things every week and they sort of shrug their shoulders and say, oh, well, right to bear arms.
A survey of parents has found 80% of Australian school children own at least one digital device. The study found almost a third can take them to bed. 75% of parents are worried about the impact on physical activity. There's a lot of data there. I think it all adds up to one thing. Devices are a big part of life.
Yeah. And I think they're a bigger part of boys' lives than girls' lives. Even in a social media sense. Yeah, I think so. Just based on, my own experience of looking around the house. I think guys are more into it than girls. But, who says the child gets to say that it goes to bed with an iPad? There's an easy way to stop that from happening. Just set some rules.
Online shoppers are being urged to watch out for scams involving eBay and Amazon. Victims receive a phone call requesting they download software to resolve account hacking issues, when in fact it is a tool that allows remote access. So it is the hacking issue in and of itself. And front page of the Oz this morning, $747 million will be invested in defence facilities in the Northern Territory. The federal government funding will be used to upgrade 4 training bases and improve training facilities for Australian personnel and US Marines. Pat in the Barossa Valley, you got a fancy word for us?
I like to explain things with pedagogic alacrity.
You just have to step us through that one, Pat.
Pedagogic alacrity, Pat.
No, pedagogic. G-O-K-I-K. Pedagogic.
What's pedagogic?
Minute detail, I think. I got it out of a book called Hell, West and Crooked by Tom Cole, which is also a really good read, actually.
Pat, that's a great way to kick us off with a fancy word. Haven't heard of that one before. Thank you. Scott's in Glenunga. Morning to you, Scott.
Good morning, David and Will. How you going?
Good,
thanks, Scott.
That's good. I was going to use the word apogee in a sentence. I think we'd have to agree the Queen is a cultural icon, and as the apogee of all that it is British, institutional, and proper, Her Majesty.
Superb. That's great, mate. That's a perfect demonstration of the word.
Yeah, that's great. Good on you, Scott.
Well done, Scott.
Ben in Christie's Beach, good morning.
G'day, boys. How are you?
Good, thanks, Ben.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
If you want to get proper about it, it comes down to the anti-disestablishmentarianism.
That was excellent, Ben. That's tremendous work. In fact, you've got a $100 Wallace gift card coming your way, Ben. Magnificent work. Good on you. 20 minutes after 6, few texts as well. I don't mind this. Salubrious, says CJ in Bowden. A great word to describe a nice eating establishment. Simon says most sophisticated rhetoricians leave me inebriated with the exuberance of my own verbosity. Thank you, Simon. Mark from Glenside says, I try to slip in the words gravitas and pernicious into regular conversation to fool people into thinking I'm highly educated, classy and cultured. And Ben in Port Broughton, I like this, says filigree, apogee, pedigree, perigee was the spell used in bed knobs and broomsticks to turn people into rabbits. I remember it well.
Yeah, right. I've never seen Bed Knobs and
I love that
Broomsticks.
film. It's a kid's movie.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's fantastic. One of my absolute favourites.
I hope no one's going to turn into a rabbit in the studio. That'd be embarrassing.
I think more likely someone's bed just took flight. But I'm not. Right. I have to watch it again. I can't remember. 21 minutes after 6. We're going to talk sport with Tom Wren in a moment. What we might do first, just quickly though, is have a look at the weather for today. It's 8.9 outside at the moment. 22 will be the top. Sunny, light winds. Not much to speak of. Tomorrow, sunny, light winds. 24 the top. Then on Friday, we'll hit 26, sunny with light winds becoming northeasterlies. Saturday's now up to 28. Magnificent day on Saturday before cooling down a little bit, but still not. 22 on Sunday.
Well, now we're joined by another happy Aroborvitae customer. We all know by now that Aroborvitae Joint Health contains potent, natural, anti-inflammatory and antioxidant ingredients, which may provide a whole bunch of benefits. Gary, when did you start taking Aroborvitae and what for?
3 years ago, I started taking it for mild osteoarthritis. I had some pain in my knee. I'd heard about a product on the local radio station. I took it for 2 weeks and my pain simply went away.
Am I right in saying you were told you may need a knee replacement?
I just turned 50 and they were talking about a knee replacement. I thought, well, I may as well go and do it. And only that I heard about this product, the fear of a scalpel led me towards it. And I thought, well, what the hell, I'll give it a go, and the rest is history. It's brilliant.
So, Gary, you're a forklift driver. Your job, no doubt, would have a high level of labour involved. You've noticed significant benefits for you.
Yeah, after 2 weeks, I was sceptical that it might come back, and it hasn't. So, yeah, I do a lot of off and on, up and down. I'm pain-free, so hopefully it stays that way and forever.
So your message for everyone then, if they have any joint pain?
Take my word for it. Just take it. The worst that you can do is not like it or it doesn't work. That's the worst that can happen. Other than that, just give it a go.
Gary, thank you so much for that. If you'd like more information or you want to order, you can visit aroborvitae.com.au or call 1300 879 863. Always follow the directions for use. This medicine may not be right for you. Read the label before purchase, and if symptoms persist, talk to your health professional.
Had an accident? Some insurers don't offer unlimited not-at-fault car hire, but Amy does. Just give us the other driver's details. So instead of being on a bus squished next to a bodybuilder listening to... oh, heavy metal. Lovely. You can enjoy a hire car. Just you and the open road. Go with the doers. Amy does. T's and C's apply. Benefit stops when you get your car back or we settle your claim. Before buying insurance issued by AAI Limited, trading as Amy, read the PDS at amy.com.au.
Check out this hot weekend getaway from NT Now. Private jet charter flying Adelaide to Uluru direct. 5-star accommodation, fully hosted. 3 days and 2 nights. Touring around Uluru. And a stack of other memorable experiences. Uluru by private jet. Departing Friday, June 11 of the long weekend. And new departure added on Friday, July 16. Seats are limited from just $2,099 per person. Search NT Now. Or book online at ntnow.com.au.
Ray White Business Sales SA and Business SA. Both are experts at what they do, so they've formed an alliance to help you. Whether you're buying or selling a business or somewhere in between, they'll work together, making sure the business you're going to sell or buy is in top shape. Ray White Business Sales SA and Business SA. Experts in business support and sales. Ready to help you achieve your goals. Call them today. 8300 0000.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
25 minutes after 6, Tom Wren in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. Up to $300 on selected Asco dishwashers, Adelaide Appliance Gallery, the home of Mr. Dishwasher. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Now, Will, you and I called the game on the weekend, the Crows and Hawthorn, and you called it at the end beautifully. It was such a unique, strange, beautiful, brilliant, yet eminently frustrating game for so many reasons. It was also a game, and I know you like your numbers, and Pembo, you do too. It's the first ever AFL game where we've had the goal. It's where we've had the score 16-3. Never had that before.
No one's ever finished on 16-3.
No one's ever finished on 16-3.
In the history of AFL.
Ever. So, do you know what? You want to know what the most
17-3.
Do you want to know what the most common score is? 279 times it's occurred, or do you want me to leave that for someone to try and guess?
Okay.
Well, no. Let's.
Yeah, we have a stab.
Yeah.
I know what it is. I may have overheard conversations in
The
the
most
office.
common.
The most common score.
So this goes back to like 1898, doesn't it? When University would play Melbourne at the.
I think it does. Yeah.
Albert Park, and the score would be 1-1 to 4-0.
Yeah, and it's happened 279 times.
So hang on, is it the average score or is it the
just the score that a team's
the
finished
most,
on
the most
the
common
most?
the most common result?
They've finished on
the most common
the
score.
most. Yeah, more than any other score. It's
I'd
hard, isn't it?
say 9 goals, 8.
Pretty close. Not bad. It's 10 goals, 12.
10
goals, 12.
I tell
10
you,
goals, 12.
it looks to me you've got a significant document there. Anyone can call in right now and ask you any score, and you'll tell them. I think this is right. You could tell them how many times it's ever happened in AFL, VFL history.
Yep, absolutely.
All right.
And David, 202 times 9 goals, 8. So not too bad.
Okay.
Right.
Call on 8223 or text us on the Telstra Stormount Barker text line. Can you come up with a unique scoreline?
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, 40 goals one's probably never happened. But,
Yeah.
within the realms of
In the
possible.
realms.
16-3 doesn't sound like it was the first time ever that would have happened.
I would have thought that happened half a dozen times.
See if you can stump Tom Wren. Call in and ask him now.
Also, while we're just talking some sport, Chelsea, I know a lot of Chelsea fans out there, European Champions League, first leg against Real Madrid, 1-1. That literally just finished as I came on air a moment ago. So not a bad result because they're away from home, so they get
Good
the
away
goals
goal.
roll. Yeah, if it finishes 0-0 in the second leg. And the other one that I wanted to talk to you about is Olympic athletes, Paralympians are going to get the jab to go and compete. A bit of angst about this. Some people saying, well, why are they treated differently to normal Australians? I don't have so much of an issue with it. But
I'd have less of an issue with it, though, Tom, if we didn't have people listening to this program who are saying, my mum's in aged care and she still hasn't been vaccinated. That's the problem.
Yep.
That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
But if you the Australian shot put hopeful, who's in with half a chance of coming 14th in the world with your AIS scholarship, what? Is that such a hugely important part of the national psyche that we need to be sending our athletes away to a country that I still, frankly, don't think. I think this Olympics is all it's going to do is remind us how good life used to be when things like this could actually happen properly. I think heaps of countries are going to be unable to attend. I mean, what sort of nicks the Indian national team in at the moment? How are the Brazilians looking? What about I haven't heard anything about the US team.
I think they'll probably all be vaccinated.
Yeah, they've done it reasonably well, haven't they?
They've done it exceptionally well.
Yeah.
480 odd Olympic athletes are expected to have. The statistic that will surprise people is there's some 2,000 support staff that have to get vaccinated as well.
Right.
See,
well, isn't that the Olympics in a nutshell? All the bag carriers that are part of this, between the IOC and FIFA, like, dead set, I went to the South African World Cup, and the FIFA juggernaut is something to behold. It's like you think of every egregious gouging political organisation in the world rolling into one, and that's what those organisations look like. Unbelievable. It's like an ensemble international rort.
And it's hard to argue with that, isn't it? I mean, I just said I didn't have too much of a problem, but, you scratch the surface a bit more and we are still having issues with.
I can see the other argument, Tom, and it's a bit like what Pat Cummins said yesterday. Look, sport's a great outlet. People are miserable in India at the moment. If we can keep the IPL going, happy days. For a lot of people worldwide, they'd go, well, you know, it's nice that we're going to have the Olympics. But I just think it's the special case element of it will jar with people who are saying, why do they get a priority when the elderly haven't yet been looked after?
I think it's incumbent on the government to say how far does this set things back, because I can tell you do some short math, and in the US to say vaccinate 10,000 people, you go, well, that will set us back all of 7.5 minutes. Seriously, the rate they're doing it, that's how far back you'd be pushed in the line. What does it mean in Australia? We've done 1.9 million, 205,000 people in that are in aged care at the moment. How far does it mean a week? Possibly.
And that can be life and death.
Based on Sunday's efforts, where we vaccinated 85 people in South Australia.
It was 239 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like, it's staggeringly small.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, 239. That's right.
Something like that. It was just
drop in the ocean stuff.
Yeah. Mind you, based at that rate, we wouldn't actually vaccinate the team in time for the Olympics. So
who's got the games next time?
Get him for 2024.
Right. Yeah. Good on you, ready?
Thanks,
Paris. Save up to 15% on selected Asco cooking appliances. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, the home of Mr. Dishwasher.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny today and 22 with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Trust Physio Extra. Norwood, Purie Street, Marion, Hallicove, Seaford and Victor Harbour. PhysioExtra.com.
SA will welcome international arrivals again from today. It follows a 3-day suspension on overseas flights, which was only revealed yesterday. The Premier requested the pause on Friday following a spike in local hotel quarantine cases. The ban was approved by the Prime Minister and started on Sunday. Experts fear there's been a significant underreporting of new COVID cases in India. Officially, there have been more than 300,000 new infections every day for the past week. But health workers say the true extent is much worse, as fatalities outside hospitals aren't included. Senior Government Advisor Ashok Malik says the crisis is unprecedented.
I guess we didn't expect it with this sort of intensity, because peak numbers in the first wave were 90,000 COVID positive people a day. You could have expected that to perhaps double. It's quadrupled. In such a situation, the health system has been completely overwhelmed.
The Centre for Disease Control in America has announced the easing of restrictions for those who have been vaccinated. Nine's Alison Petrowski reports from the US.
Fully vaccinated Americans are no longer required to wear masks outside, except in large crowds such as packed sporting events and concerts. The guidelines also indicate that those who've received the shot are free to mingle with other vaccinated households. US President Joe Biden appealing to those who remain vaccine hesitant.
This is another great reason to go get vaccinated. Now.
Nearly 96 million Americans are now fully vaccinated. There's been an 80% drop in deaths in seniors and a 70% decrease in hospitalisations for those over 65.
One of the doctors who treated the victims of the Port Arthur massacre says it was what he imagines a war zone would look like. 25 years ago today, 35 people were killed by a gunman at the tourist spot. Dr Brian Walpole says one of the surgeons in charge at the Royal Hobart Hospital's emergency department that day.
I've not been to war, but I imagine that's what war's like when you get 19 shot people, all arriving within a couple of hours, and most of them fairly seriously injured.
More damning research regarding passive smoking. Secondhand smoke increases the risk of oral cancer by 51%. The Superior Institute of Health in Portugal analysed data from almost 7,000 people across 5 studies. The Adelaide Guitar Festival is returning to our stages with the full lineup announced. The festival will run from July 4 to 25. This year's headline show is a tribute to the Rolling Stones and the 50th anniversary of Sticky Fingers. Artistic Director Slava Gregorian says the festival will also reach regional towns with its on-the-road program.
Every time we take the Guitar Festival to the regions, we try to include educational workshops at schools, performances in care facilities, lots of free public events as well, just to engage with regional communities and regional artists.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to $300 on selected Asco dishwashers at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr. Dishwasher.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide defender Will Hamill is still unsure the severity of his ankle injury, but it's hoped it's not too serious. Meantime, teammate Sam Berry will return to training this week after hurting his ankle last week. And Geelong defender Jake Kolodjasny is in doubt for Saturday night's clash against Sydney. Scans revealing a low-grade medial ligament injury. To tennis, the Wimbledon Championships are going ahead this year, but the All England Lawn Club has announced a shake-up off the court. Nine's Craig Gabriel reports.
Players going to the championships will be allowed 3 guests, and this year there will be no private housing allowed for players. Instead, all will be accommodated in designated hotels. Crowd figures at this point are set at 25% of normal capacity, and the club hopes this may increase as restrictions are relaxed in the UK from 21st June. Wimbledon also didn't announce its prize money, as they haven't got estimated income levels yet. Craig Gabriel, 9 News.
Briefly, elsewhere, racing experts are calling for mandatory health screenings for international horses entered in the Melbourne Cup. And Chelsea's made a solid start in its European Champions League semi-final tie against Real Madrid, holding on for a 1-1 away draw. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
22, mostly sunny today, much the same tomorrow, 24. Right now it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
24 minutes to 7, 0448 08 1395 is the Telstra Stillmount Barker text line number. Samir says our Olympic athletes are the ones that least need the vaccine, considering them being the fittest and healthiest in our community. I guess.
What about us unkempt, unfit 52-year-olds? Where's mine?
I get the reality is the value proposition is it worth it for the entertainment value you get out of it and the sense of normality you get in the world for it to happen? I guess that's the question we're being asked, and the federal government's answered in the affirmative that it is. It's worth whatever the delay is. I actually think there's a degree of international embarrassment that goes with this too. What if we were the country that, we weren't vaccinating quick enough, so it became a political issue domestically?
Yeah, well, it's almost like the performance in terms of vaccinations is almost a medal tally in its own right, isn't it?
Oh, well, yeah. And it's a bit embarrassing, and it will highlight just how embarrassing it is for us at the moment. 8223 0000 is our number. How are you going with QR codes at the moment?
Going all right.
Yeah.
I use them all the time. I've forgotten a couple of times, but I've run back into on the runs and things like that.
My sense is going into places, people are pretty good. And no one's perfect, and the expectation is you're not going to be perfect, but people are pretty good. How about this, though? Small business owners are being targeted by anti-vaxxers who have been caught tampering with COVID-19 checkouts in the Adelaide foothills. SA Police have confirmed they're investigating a scam that was reported in Blackwood on Friday, which saw anti-vaccination campaigners putting their own QR codes over the top of the state government's official COVID-safe check-in forms.
So they've made like a sticker that's the same size and they put it on.
So it doesn't look any different to you because you probably you only go up to it with your phone and it scans it. When you do, it doesn't log you in.
It takes you to a website telling you that vaccinations are bad.
Yeah. Tough. I reckon
what a pack of psychos.
It's tough sledding for anti-vaxxers at the moment, isn't it? When the whole world's clamouring for a vaccination.
Well, it's kind of heartening, really.
Yeah.
Like it shows that mainstream majority common sense based opinion, people who respect science go, these people are nuts.
Mm.
And, the big debate now is why haven't we been vaccinated?
Exactly. This is tough work for
Hey, sneak this in while it's still happening. Look outside. Awesome sunrise, folks. If you're still stirring, lying under the eider down and want to get out and marvel at Mother Nature turning on a show, it's well worth it. I was just out on the balcony with Luce. She's a sunrise tragic and likes taking photographs. I'm sure she's going to put one up on the social media things. But yeah, beautiful sunrise.
Big thanks to the person who sent us a text too of the supermoon on the Telstra Stillmount Barker text line, albeit it's eclipsed by us being mooned by a horse. War Dance the pony and the moon in Roseworthy reads the caption. Have a wonderful day.
Beautiful picture.
It's just, it is. It's just the the side of
hindquarters.
I'm not sure that's the side that War Dance was hoping for.
That's right. Not War Dance's best angle.
Mortal Kombat, the South Australian, the film that was filmed here in South Australia, has topped the US box office. I suspect it's rare that this has happened. Mortal Kombat made $23.3 million, so just shy of 30 million Australian dollars since opening there on Friday. 2019 was filmed at Cooper Pedy, Lee Creek, Mount Crawford, Port Adelaide. Adelaide companies did the visual effects. This is a hugely South Australian production, estimated to have already made globally more than 50 million US dollars, so about 64 million Australian dollars. I was thinking, reading that this morning, where does it sit in the annals of, well, but for most people, we wouldn't have seen it yet. I certainly haven't. But what is your favourite a movie with a South Australian touch?
Oh, geez, there's heaps.
There's so many. Actually, I started Googling it this morning, and a touch might be an actor in it. It might be the director. It might be it was filmed here. So my mind immediately goes to something like Gallipoli.
Mine goes to Breaker Morant.
Breaker Morant.
Borough.
Let's not say too many. We'll see what listeners have to say. 8223 0000 or text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. What's the best film that has a bit of South Australia in it?
You did right about Mortal Kombat. I spoke on Friday to a bloke called Tim Pearce. Now, he's one of three brothers who started this company called Frame Creative. And they're like a digital creative advertising type agency. They do a lot of promotional stuff. They've worked largely for local businesses and local entities, done stuff for SA Tourism. They've just redesigned the excellent new SANFL website. That was a website that needed a bit of a refresh. But they got the contract to do all of the graphics for Mortal Kombat, including designing from scratch the Mortal Kombat typeface. So the actual typeface that you see on all the posters and promotional stuff, one of the Pearce boys have got a little office just in Gilbert Street near the Bruns, Duke of Brunswick. They designed all the graphics, and they do all of the credits in the movie as well. So the start, the end, everything else. And, this is one of those things where sometimes people bulk it, government should let the private sector stand on its own 2 feet. Well, I would argue that this is a case where the assistance of both the federal and state governments to give a bit of tickle-up money, particularly with the feds attracting directors here for locations. There's millions of dollars for locations. And when you've got all the COVID-related problems in the US, it actually makes economic sense because all of the makeup artists and all the people who worked on this film are locals. And it's huge.
Who would have
money
thought there's a
spinner for the
company
economy.
that does credits?
Well, someone's got to do the credits.
That's right.
Yeah.
Usually it's just someone in Hollywood. But now it's someone in Adelaide.
Yeah.
Ralph's in Kent Town. What's your favourite movie with an SA brush to it, Ralph?
It was called Never Too Late, which was done recently. It was less than 2 years ago, starring Jackie Weaver, Jack Thompson, and a stellar cast of Australian veteran actors.
Never Too Late. I've been meaning to check that out. I'm glad you reminded me of that, Ralph. That's something I need to go and have a look at. Thank you for that. Jeff in Craigmore, what's your favourite?
Hey guys, I think there was two. One was very, very famous, and that was Storm Boy.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Right, and wasn't there a Mad Max filmed here?
Yes, there was. We got a text on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line about Mad Max being filmed here. That's a good one.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Good on you, Jeff.
I love that nomination of Storm Boy.
Yeah.
I took my teenage kids, to see that at a special screening at the Film Corporation at Glenside. They've got a little cinema there. And I made a complete goose of myself because I just started crying the moment the film came on. I don't know what it is about that movie.
Yeah.
But when you re-watch it as an adult, I think there's a really weird, unfleshed out subplot with the dad. I actually think the dad has got some form of depression. If you watch that movie as almost like this European style art movie. Like, on the face of it, it's about a boy who falls in love with a pelican, and then one of them, we all know what happens. But it's actually got so much in it, so much depth, that film. But the way it's shot, it's just mind-blowing.
Helen in Paradise, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, Kangaroos. It was made at Port Augusta years ago.
Kangaroos, Helen? I've never heard of it.
Not familiar with
Kangaroo, Maureen O'Hara.
Oh, is that based on the D.H. Lawrence book?
Pardon?
Is it based on the book by D.H. Lawrence, Kangaroo?
I have no idea what it's based on, but we were driving. This is from Warramboo. Remember Warramboo?
No,
not familiar with Warramboo.
You've got me again, Helen.
You gave me the, what was it? Whirlers.
Oh, the Wallace voucher?
Voucher, yeah, because I came from Warramboo.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, of course. Of course.
That's partly why you got it, because it was an obscure place.
Well, we were driving through from there to town, and we got to Port Augusta, and Dad was hoping he would see Maureen O'Hara. Because they were
Did he get a glimpse of her in the end?
They were filming there at the time. And you could see all the trucks and everything like that.
So did he get to see her?
No, but he would have loved to have.
Good on you, Helen. Thank you for that.
That's a great call.
Julie in Hyde Park, good morning.
Good morning, boys. My favourite movie that was screened in South Australia is Shine.
Yeah, Scott Hicks. Yep.
Yeah, the cafe, where he lived was Henley-on-Sea.
That's
years
right.
ago, a little cafe, and then most of it was screened at the Myrtles opposite Wilderness at Medindie.
Yeah,
so that would be my favourite movie.
There was a really underrated scene too, Julie, that was filmed down at Port Adelaide featuring a crowd. And look, a lot of film critics would suggest that I really held that scene together, being one of the extras on that day.
Were you giggly idiot number 3?
Well, yeah, I was. I think actually about 300. There was a lot of us in the room. We watched him play the piano, and yeah.
Oh, was that the recital where he passes out? Is it the young health guy?
Yeah, it is. It's the young health guy.
And he had a total freeze.
Yeah, and it was filmed down here at Port Adelaide. Yeah, and I was in the crowd.
Right. I'll have to rewatch it.
Well, I don't think I made the cut, unfortunately, Julie. I'm not sure. Actually, there's like one sort of sweep of a crowd. You're absolutely right,
He wasn't
Julie.
wearing his skivvy.
If I was decked out by Peter Shearer, I might have got a little bit of camera time. Hey, that's a great call. Thank you, Julie.
Good call, Julie.
14 to 7. We'll take some more calls on this in just a moment. But first, let's check traffic thanks to Dave Potter. Enjoy huge savings and factory bonuses on the 2021 CRV at Australia's #1. That's Dave Potter.
Good morning. The roads looking pretty good this morning. Simply some roadworks to keep in mind. Flinders Park, Range Road near Hammond Road for urgent gas works there. At Mount Osborne this morning, the freeway uptrack, the right-hand lane is closed. Speed restrictions both directions there. And at Jeps Cross, Cavan Road near Churchill Road, a gas main is being replaced, causing a few delays for the drive-in. A couple of speed cameras, Marion Road at Firle, North Street, Henley Beach. Amazon.com.au offer free delivery on eligible orders over $39. That's right, free delivery. Shop amazon.com.au. Easy as. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Looking for a gorgeous gift this Mother's Day? Fella Hamilton offers a beautiful, bright gift guide full of stunning pieces. If you can't decide between all the superb accessories and garments available, you can always grab one of their popular Fella Hamilton gift cards. Fella Hamilton take the guesswork out of Mother's Day. For a short time only, you will receive a free gift with purchase. T's and C's apply. So hurry into Fella Hamilton to find the perfect Mother's Day gift. In-store, online, or by mail order right now. 5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide tech guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
If there's any tech I can recommend for Mother's Day, it's got to be a smartwatch. The Garmin Fenix 6S Pro GPS watch comes with an optical heart rate monitor to gauge your workout, as well as track your heart rate's variability, offering ample space for storing up to 2,000 songs for your hikes or workouts. When it comes to activities, it has all the trimmings like an altimeter, a compass, and a clever incident alert that detects when you fall and notifies others. It's a very smart watch, and it looks smart too, with a stylish rose gold frame with a white band. The Garmin Fenix 6S Pro Rose Gold Watch. Surprise mum with one and head to your local Harvey Norman and pick one up at 50% off until Mother's Day. Only $574.
Check out these great offers at 5AA.com.au. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
It isn't waste until you waste it. That's the catch cry from an amazing company called Eco Waste Solutions. Eco Waste Solutions is a hard waste recycling facility, not a dump, located at Williston. They'll take everything except hazardous waste and food scraps. They'll take your waste bricks, your mattresses, tyres, soil, timber, steel, concrete and more. Plus, if you pre-sort your load, you receive a 50% discount on disposal fees. Google Eco Waste Solutions Williston for more.
As a small to medium business owner, you need a vehicle fleet that is fit for purpose. The new Nissan Navara is the ultimate workhorse, built tough to handle the harshest conditions. Packed with the latest intelligent safety and driving assistance tech, the new Nissan Navara is the ideal addition to your fleet. Let your local Nissan fleet dealer tailor a vehicle solution that's right for you and your business needs. Visit your local Nissan dealer or search Nissan Fleet today.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
10 to 7, Senior Constable Matt Brown from SAPOL on the line. Morning to you, Matt.
Morning, guys. How are you?
We're good, thanks, Matt.
Now, results from Operation Safe Weekend. Pretty good results by the looks of things.
That's right, of course. With Anzac Day falling on a Sunday this year, South Australians enjoyed an unusual long weekend to mark the occasion. But in order to deter dangerous road behaviours and reduce the likelihood of the long weekend resulting in more lives lost on the roads, SAPOL conducted the statewide Operation Safe Long Weekend Anzac 2021 from Friday to Monday. So fortunately, there were no lives lost on the roads during the operation. However, we conducted over 17,000 breath tests with 66 positive results, 339 drug tests, 704 speeding drivers were detected as well, and 7 seatbelt offences, 409 distraction offences, and 22 drivers were arrested or reported for driving while disqualified. So we are pleased to see that no lives were lost on the weekend, but it really is pure luck that none of these offences reported didn't result in death or serious injury. So most people do the right thing, of course, and we commend them for that, but the others who refuse to heed the warnings must be caught and stopped. So far this year, there's been 37 lives lost on SA roads, which is the same time as this time in 2020.
Matt, also tell us about these online shopping scams.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, Dave. We've recently noticed a spike, particularly over the weekend, in the remote access scams involving online shopping platforms such as eBay and Amazon. So what it does is it involves unsuspecting victims receiving calls out of the blue and being requested to download software onto their phone or computer to resolve a problem with their eBay or Amazon account. So it's not a new scam, but we've noticed a trend that scammers are starting to move away from pretending to be phone companies or internet companies or things like that towards more popular online shopping, particularly with more people being at home due to lockdown or things like that. So we're looking, just letting people know that if they do receive a phone call, we do not recommend you download any sort of software or apps you're not familiar with, particularly at the direction of someone over the phone. So if you're not sure who you're speaking to, hang up the phone and try and make contact with the actual business itself. And we have plenty of information on scams on our website. So if you go to police.sa.gov.au/scams, you can find out other ways to protect yourself online.
Good on you, Matt. Thank you for
Good
that.
advice.
Senior Constable Matt Brown from SAPOL. And I think it's important for people to know too. Don't feel stupid if you do get caught by one.
No, exactly.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're some sort of tech illiterate idiot.
I've hit links before and gone, oh, hang on, I shouldn't have done that.
That's the other. We just got to sort of. There was a sort
tax
of
office ones.
There's a snobbishness to it. That's sort of like, how could you possibly fall for the Nigerian prince? Well, they're not all the Nigerian prince.
No, exactly.
They've gotten a little more sophisticated. It's okay to say, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go to the weather. Tom Bowick, Senior Forecaster at the Bureau, on the line. Morning to you, Tom.
G'day, Dave and Will.
It's pretty mild sort of a week, Tom. I'll tell you what, a bit of rain would be nice for us gardeners. I got my water bill yesterday. It was $890.
It's a shocker, isn't it? Yeah. So, look, the next couple of days we've got a similar situation with these cool mornings and warmish days. So Got down to 8.2 this morning at about 6:30, and it's currently 8.6 here at West Terrace. So, 22 for today, similar to yesterday. We had 21.2. Then Thursday, mostly sunny, 24 degrees. Friday up to 26, sunny conditions. Saturday, warm and windy day there ahead of a change. So quite significant temperature rise there for the first day of May, up to 28 degrees after a minimum of 17. So with the wind coming in, that keeping the temperature up overnight there. Following that change, only a slight chance of a shower for Sunday, so not much in at 22. And maybe 1 or 2 showers around for Monday, Tuesday next week. Cooler temperatures, 20 for Monday and Tuesday there, guys.
Good on you, Tom. Thank you for that. Tom Bowick, Senior Forecaster at the Weather Bureau at 6 to 7.
Nothing beats that new car experience, and you'll still be feeling it long after you drive away in a new Kluger 7-seat hybrid SUV from Jarvis Toyota. With all-wheel drive hybrid power and intelligent safety technology, the Kluger is where freedom meets family. The buzz around the new Kluger is huge, so register your interest at Jarvis Toyota, Clovelly Park today. Rediscover the road in the all-new Toyota Kluger Hybrid at Jarvis Toyota, South Road, Clovelly Park, proudly celebrating 20 years of great deals.
G'day. Before you buy ham for your family, here's a shocking fact you need to know. The majority of all sliced ham in Australia is made from imported meat. So if you want to buy ham made from great tasting Aussie pork and support Aussie farming families like mine, you'll need to look closely at the little bar chart next to the Australian-made kangaroo on your pack. Unless this chart is close to full, you'll be buying ham made from imported meat. So please, always take time to look closely at your packs of ham. And remember, the fuller the bar, the more Aussie they are. Thanks.
You might think having thousands of pals is excessive, but that's not what the team at Parafield Airport Liquor Store think, because that's how many they have. Sure, they might be made up of over 100 gins, over 200 whiskies, over 300 craft beers, and over 2,000 boutique wines. But they're some of the best pals you could have, and they're always looking for more, even if they are tricky to track down. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Check out this hot weekend getaway from NT Now. Private jet charter flying Adelaide to Uluru direct. 5-star accommodation, fully hosted, 3 days and 2 nights. Touring around Uluru and a stack of other memorable experiences. Uluru by private jet, departing Friday, June 11 of the long weekend, and new departure added on Friday, July 16. Seats are limited from just $2,099 per person. Search NT Now or book online at ntnow.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
3 minutes to 7, coming up on the program a little bit later today. Tom Duday from the Adelaide Football Club. We'll talk movies. We'll talk Academy Awards with him. It happened earlier in the week. The ratings have come out. We knew they wouldn't be good, given no one's seen the movies. I don't know if anyone thought they'd be this bad. 23.6 million people watched it last year. That was the lowest ever, 23.6 million last year. How many do you think watched it this year?
15 million.
9.8.
Oh, really?
So the lowest ever was 23.6. It dropped more than half.
We've got almost that many listeners, haven't we, Will?
Maybe we should stop talking about the movies. I don't know. People clearly want to talk about it. Trevor in Modbury Heights has called in. What's your favourite movie with a touch of South Australia in it, Trevor?
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. I think it's called The Light Horseman, filmed up at Walker.
Great movie.
Yeah, quite a few people texted about that too.
If you go to the old, or if you go to the mobile service station up there, they've still got a lot of photographs and memorabilia from when the movie was made there. It's magnificent.
In Hawker, Trevor?
Yes, in Hawker itself, here up in God country.
Beautiful.
Good on you, Trevor. Yeah. Thank you for that. And good tip. David in Mile End, good morning.
How you going, boys? All right?
Good, thanks, David.
Yeah, I've got two. Red Dog was the first opening scene. The bar fight was at the Bowden, in here in Bowden for Red Dog.
Yeah,
right.
Did they actually have to stage the fight, or was it already underway when the crew turned up?
and then the other one was picnic at Hanging Rock at Martindale Hall there, around there.
Yep. Good one, David. Thank
you.
Both
excellent choices.
Do you notice how David just totally shouldered arms when you sent that jibe towards Bowden? Just let that one go outside off stump. It wasn't going to bite.
A big shout out to the publicans in Bowden this morning.
Let's go to Somerton Park. Rob, good morning.
Morning, guys. Two movies. One was Wastelander Panda.
I don't know.
Never heard of that one.
Wastelander Panda was filmed in South Australia and Port Adelaide. I was an extra in that. I'm in the first 15 seconds, my head sort of floats across the screen for a minute.
It's good to speak to a fellow movie star, Rob.
And it's basically giant pandas in an apocalyptic world with humans that goes out into the wasteland of South Australia.
Were you a panda?
No,
Okay.
I was way too small.
Right.
And the other one, I was an extra in this as well, was Tracks.
Oh, right.
Tracks. Was that about BMX riding?
No, Tracks was the girl who learned how to look after camels and trekked across the Simpson Desert.
Tracks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. I'm with you.
Good on. I think you're thinking of BMX Bandits.
Yes, I think I was.
Not the same movie.
No. Slightly different. Good on you, Rob. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Rob.
Terrific memories. We'll revisit some of those. Get to more of your texts. We've got some wonderful full moons and sunrises this morning to get to, and we'll tweet some of those out as well. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny and 22 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Keep your body in shape with Physio Extra Clinical Pilates and group exercise classes. PhysioExtra.com.
There's been a car fire at Dudley Park. A Toyota Kluger station wagon, possibly stolen, was reported burning on Oxenham Street just after 5 this morning. The vehicle has extensive damage. A woman's been arrested after smashing a hotel window at the port. It happened on Commercial Road shortly after midnight. A 25-year-old from Kilburn has been charged with property damage. She's been bailed to front court at a later date. International flights will resume locally today. SA was bypassed for 3 days after a request was made by the Premier to Canberra. It followed a large spike in COVID cases in hotel quarantine. A public health expert says Australians deserve to know more about when they can expect to be vaccinated against COVID. Professor Bill Botel wants more information about the number of available shots and for the federal government to reinstate targets. He says the decision to suspend flights from India makes sense given the number of Australians who are unprotected.
Right at the moment, we've got to do everything we can when we're largely unvaccinated to stop movement from India into Australia. The problem with India, of course, as the epidemiologists say, is it's the scale of the problem.
It's back to work for Queen Elizabeth, holding her first public engagement since the 2-week mourning period for Prince Philip's death came to an end. Nine's Ben Avery reports from London.
A photograph released by the royal family shows the Queen smiling on a computer screen as she held virtual audiences via video link from Windsor Castle. Her Majesty wore a pale blue floral dress as she spoke to ambassadors from the republics of Latvia and Côte d'Ivoire, who were both at Buckingham Palace. With the royal family's 2-week period of mourning for Prince Philip's death now over, Prince William and wife Catherine have also stepped up their returns to official duties. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge taking turns to drive a tractor as they toured a farm in northeast England. The couple appearing relaxed as they prepare to celebrate their 10th wedding anniversary tomorrow, Australian time.
The program for this year's Adelaide Guitar Festival has been released, with tickets now on sale. The festival will run from July 4 to 25, featuring a stellar lineup of guitarists across a wide range of genres. Artistic Director Slava Gregorian says this year's program has a focus on local artists.
We just didn't want to take the risk on inviting people from overseas, but also just a great opportunity to celebrate the incredible talent that we have here. Having said that, the guitar is such a national instrument in terms of genres and styles. A lot of that colour will be celebrated in the full program.
A rubber sex toy has sparked evacuations in Bavaria. A suspicious bag located in a forest was initially thought to be a bomb from World War II, but was actually a sex toy shaped like a hand grenade. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to 15% on selected Asco cooking appliances at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
Gotta love a story like that, Tom Wren.
Goodness me, what do I say after that? I think I'll probably just press on here, Mel. Let's start with football. Adelaide is hopeful captain Rory Sloane will return for next week's showdown. The skipper has missed the past 3 weeks with an eye injury, and head of football Adam Kelly told the club's website he expects him to miss one more.
Rory Sloane got back running around a week ago now. He's going to require further assessment from our eye specialist. But everything's been positive to this point in time, and we're very hopeful that Rory could be back for the showdown.
To tennis, the All England club has announced that the Wimbledon Championships will go ahead this year, crowds to be capped at 25% of capacity. One game in the A-League last night, Sydney FC holding on for a 1-0 win against Melbourne Victory. The result lifts the Sky Blues into second spot and sees Adelaide United drop to fourth. Overseas, and Chelsea has scored a crucial away goal in the first leg of their Champions League semi-final tie against Real Madrid.
Here's Pulisic. He's going to go for goal himself. He's rounded the goalkeeper and he scored with some aplomb. Christian Pulisic in the 14th minute. And Chelsea have suddenly run into overdrive here. Real Madrid 0, Chelsea 1.
Real Madrid equalised, though, in the 29th minute to set up a tantalising second leg at Stamford Bridge next week. Meantime, Manchester City travels to Paris to play PSG tomorrow morning in the first leg of the other semi. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, second year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Look out for a smash this morning, Salisbury East, Main North Road near McIntyre Road. It's a multi-vehicle collision with debris adding to inbound delays around the roadworks. At Flinders Park, Grange Road near Hammond Road, urgent gasworks there, slowing traffic on the way in. And getting busy this morning, Main North Road at Kings Road for works, and Mount Osmond this morning. The freeway up track because the right-hand lane is closed and speed restrictions happening both ways there. Switch and save on your car servicing and repairs at Automasters. With over 20 Automasters branches, call 1300 Automasters or visit the Automasters website to find one. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
22 and mostly sunny for your Wednesday. Mostly sunny tomorrow, 24. Friday, sunny and 26. Right now it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In the last hour on Adelaide's 5AA.
That's right. If you missed the first part of the program, it got very literary. So what we think we ought to do, why not? Give us a call and try out the most clever word you know in a sentence. Just drop it into conversation with us. Ben in Christie's Beach, good morning.
All right, you ready? If you want to get proper about it, it comes down to the anti-establishmentarianism.
That was excellent, Ben. That's tremendous work. In fact, you've got a $100 Wallace gift card coming your way, Ben. Magnificent work. Good on you. Ben, big thanks to the person who sent us a text too of the supermoon, albeit it's eclipsed by us being mooned by a horse. War Dance, the pony, and the moon in Roseworthy reads the caption. Have a wonderful day. It's beautiful. It's just, it is. It's just the side of
hindquarters, not War Dance's best angle. 23.6
million people watched it last year. That was the lowest ever. How many do you think watched it this year?
15 million.
9.8.
Oh, really?
So the lowest ever was 23.6. It dropped more than half.
We've got almost that many listeners, haven't we, Will?
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
7 after 7, we'll be flashing back with Michael Smith shortly. We've got a highlight from Roey's sports show coming up very shortly. And then 7:30, we'll see Sean Fuster walk into the breakfast studio and we'll go round the courts with Sean. The biggest story, I think, in the world at the moment, and certainly as we wake up today, is India. And there is one of the more confronting photos you'll ever see. As you open the advertiser this morning about funeral pyres. That's the macro picture. Then the micro is just an elderly man on a respirator being comforted by a woman, looks like his wife. There are ramifications on a policy sense for Australia too. Flights from India have been suspended for the next 3 weeks. There will be Australians now that are stranded in India. International arrivals into South Australia from other countries will resume Wednesday. This one was secretly off the table.
I don't know why we didn't know about that. I just find that strange. It's weird that South Australia would, on account of the small but significant jump in the number of international arrivals who are coming here with COVID. Now, I think a lot of people would say that it was prudent and sensible of the Premier and or the police commissioner, the chief medical officer, the three of them. Who knows how the decision was made? But the decision to stop international flights, a lot of people would argue, was a sensible one, given that we had the big jump in cases in the last 72 hours. But not telling us about it is weird.
There wouldn't have been blowback. People would have gone, oh, good.
Did they just forget to tell us? Or, without wanting to sound too sort of conspiratorial about it, are we just now at a point where governments just think they can do things like this and that we don't need to know?
Yeah, we're on a need-to-know basis. There are nearly 20,000 Australians have returned, just India, since March last year when the pandemic began. So we get a lot of traffic through India, hence this most recent shutdown of arrivals. Big controversial talking point this morning. Got some texts on it earlier. Interested in hearing your calls now on 8223 0000. Olympians are set to get vaccination preference in Australia. So as of yesterday, the word from the federal government is the Olympic team would be vaccinated as a priority group. Now, do you know who else is in this priority group? Healthcare workers, Indigenous people aged over 55, and people older than 70. So and
18-year-olds who are really good at swimming and have awesome lung capacity.
So you as a frontline healthcare worker or someone in an aged care home are in the same sort of treatment plan as Kyle Chalmers.
Yeah, that's right.
The vaccination program for athletes and support staff includes some 2,000 people, including an estimated 450 to 480 Olympic athletes. The Government Minister for Senior Australians and Aged Care, Richard Colbeck, said the decision would not come at the cost of at-risk Australians. The numbers are these right now. We've done just over 1.9 million vaccine doses administered in Australia. 205,000 are in aged and disability care facilities. People, the distribution amongst athletes would be similar. Those over 50 get AstraZeneca, those under 50 get Pfizer. Are we happy with this or not? And here are the two arguments. We started making this earlier. It's either just flatly wrong in a moral sense, because there are people who are ahead of you in the queue, and whatever the good reason might be for you getting it, frankly, you shouldn't jump them, right? That's one. The other is there is something to be said for the world having some sort of sense of a return to normality. And distraction and things like sport are good for us, and it's a good gesture for the world to all come together and do something that no one would have imagined possible only a couple of months ago. That's the argument for it.
Is it possible, though?
Well,
are we celebrating a flawed sense of return to reality?
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. But I'm interested in what our listeners think. 8223 0000.
Well, in Japan itself, cases have surged in the last week.
Yeah.
They're really worried about the numbers at the moment, and that's the host nation.
Well, hence the...
I just don't know. Like, you think about all of the countries that are genuinely ravaged by it. Like places like is PNG going to send anyone?
Would they? Do they usually?
Yeah, they'd have a few people.
Be a handful, wouldn't it?
Yeah, not many, but there's always some. There's always some.
I think a more difficult question for those people in those countries is: would they be allowed to be sent if they weren't vaccinated?
Well, that is exactly the other problem, because it's going to get to the point where, I mean, if we're banning flights from India into Australia right now until May the 15th, and when are the Olympics scheduled to start?
So the Olympics will start on the 23rd of July.
Right. So, 2 months after flights, and this is still tentative, 2 months after a country like Australia is prepared, depending on the circumstances, to even consider letting people fly to Australia from India, what's a country like Japan going to do with countries like... And the decisions that a place like Australia make will be weighing heavily on the minds of the organisers in Japan. They'll be thinking, hang on. So what... Are they going to draw up a list of countries that can and cannot compete? Like it's logistically, there's so many things to consider.
8 athletes from Papua New Guinea in 2016.
Yeah.
So that's a reasonable number. 8223 0000. Interested in your thoughts on the Olympic Games and the priority vaccination for athletes, folks. Interested to hear from people too from Torrensview. Tom Gertzentonis, the member for West Torrens, has put up a series of videos in the last couple of days on his Twitter account from people who live in Torrensville pouring water out of their taps and backyards. That it comes out of the tap looking like beer.
It's
yellow.
Horrible
It's
colour.
foaming. It looks...
Sadly, it's not beer.
It's not beer. That's right. I mean, that would be a very different. That'd be a very different story.
The tap's full of pale ale. I might just do some more watering.
SA Water responded to him last night and said customers in Torrensview can be assured their tap water remains safe to drink. With our on-site investigations today confirming there are no faults within the local network and water continues to run clear. So
it doesn't run clear. There's a video of it not running clear.
Yeah, multiple videos of it not running clear. Are you somebody in Torrensville that has had oddly coloured water? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. 8223 0000 is the number you can text us on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. It's 14 to after 7 and time to check traffic. Enjoy huge savings in factory bonuses on the 2021 CRV and Australia's #1. That's Dave Pot Honda.
A few smashes to look out for this morning. One at Salisbury East, Main North Road near McIntyre Road. It's a multi-vehicle collision. There is some debris on the road that is adding to inbound delays around the roadworks. Another smash at Edinburgh 2 this morning, Peachy Road near Belchambers Road. A couple of cars there with debris on the road as well. And some emerging gasworks happening this morning, Flinders Park. That's Grange Road near Hammond Road, causing some delays on the drive-in. Doing a lot more driving nowadays? UltraTune can ensure your car is safe for the road. With highly qualified technicians and a 5-star CanStar rating, search UltraTune to find a service centre near you. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
All flights from India could be banned in a move that's going to cause chaos for about 8,000 Australians who are still trying to return home from India.
9 till 12 weekdays.
They recorded more than 350,000 new cases yesterday.
As SA, as Leon Biner.
Their medical systems are overwhelmed, and of course people are pleading in the streets for oxygen.
As SA, as AA.
Looking for a gorgeous gift this Mother's Day? Fella Hamilton offers a beautiful, bright gift guide full of stunning pieces. If you can't decide between all the superb accessories and garments available, you can always grab one of their popular Fella Hamilton gift cards. Fella Hamilton take the guesswork out of Mother's Day. For a short time only, you will receive a free gift with purchase. T's and C's apply. So hurry into Fella Hamilton to find the perfect Mother's Day gift. In store, online, or by mail order right now.
Hi, it's Katie Bridges here, market lead in Adelaide for FIVEaa and Nova Entertainment. This year, I'm extremely passionate about participating in the Vinnie's CEO Sleep Out to help raise awareness about homelessness and much needed funds for Vinnie's and the great work they do. I'm calling on business and community leaders, not just CEOs, who care about their community to get involved. Will you put your hand up to help break the cycle of homelessness? Register now at ceosleepout.org.au and I'll see you there.
Now, we spoke about this last week. It's an amazing initiative by ACH Group for those over the age of 65, and it's called Stay in the Game.
This is a fantastic scheme. We've done a couple of interviews about it, and it inspired last week's Meat Tray Friday. Older South Australians are invited to register for a new online video gaming challenge, which will see participants set their own gaming goals, find new games to play, stay active and meet new people, plus there's prizes to win.
It's the first of its kind in SA, run by leading aged care provider ACH Group. The Stay in the Game challenge is free to participate in and will be held until the 28th of May. So if you're over the age of 65, we'd certainly encourage you to enter. To get involved, all you need is a smartphone or computer and the internet.
For more information and to register, simply visit stayinthegame.achgroup.org.au. That's stayinthegame.achgroup.org.au.
For over 36 years, Steinborner has been well worth the trip. With over 400 used cars to choose from, you're sure to find the car you're looking for. Steinborner is your first choice for new Hyundai and Mitsubishi in the Barossa, and your first choice for Ford in Clare. And don't forget, you can always click through the collection of vehicles online at steinborner.com.au. Great local deals on great local cars from your locals. Steinborner Automotive. Still well worth the trip, or well worth the click.
Wow, it's the Sewing, Stitching and Handcraft Show with hundreds of new products from local and interstate suppliers. Plus the Festival of Quilts. It's all at the Adelaide Showground this Friday to Sunday. kjex.com.au.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
18 after 7. Tony says on the text line, it's not so much the fact that athletes are getting the jab early, it's more the fact of undue risk to themselves, their support staff and Australians in general. They're going to mix with countries from all over the world, many of which are suffering badly with infection rates. Then they come home. What's the price we are willing to pay just to see who can jump the highest or run the fastest? Guy in Highgate says staging a global sports festival during a global pandemic has to be the very definition of self-indulgent madness. And Peter says, guys, I'm all for our Olympic team getting their shots. Imagine if they were banned from the Olympics for not having them. I'm sure people would be angry. And after all, politicians got it day one when they were not in priority groups.
I'm still grappling with the fact that for every athlete going, there's 4 bag carriers from the International Olympic gravy train going with them. That is staggering. And they're all going to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
So if you're like some, mid-ranking yachting official, you get to tag along to the Tokyo Games. It's quite a
good gig.
Quite a gravy boat, the old sport.
Ray,
gravy train, not a gravy boat.
Well, man, maybe it is in the yachting sense.
The old Wedgwood Queen's Plain China pattern. Yeah.
Ray in Westlakes, good morning. What's the film with a South Australian touch that you like the best?
Yeah, good morning. Well, I've got 2. One was Storm Boy.
Yeah, great film.
And my father, when they started filming that on the back of the tuna boats, they used live tuna. Because during the day when the sun was out and they're filming, they went rotten.
Yeah,
and
right.
they couldn't stand the smell. So my late father-in-law, he worked in a injection plastic moulding company, foam, and he designed the moulds and everything else. So then they actually cast foam tuna, and they painted them all up and all the rest of it. And so he did that. And then the other one was Breaker Morant, and when they had the fight scenes, they cast the battens, for the fight scene.
Yeah.
And I thought, we better put a bit of rod in them, steel rod in the middle of it. So when they started fighting the belt, they were knocking each other out off the horses. They were belting the crap out of
a little
each
bit too
other.
realistic.
Over it.
Yeah.
So then they had to remodify them. They were like a small baseball bat.
Yeah,
I got
right.
one home here.
With the boar soldiers.
Good on you, Ray. Thank you for that. 8223000 is the number. We've been getting some wonderful memories of films made here in South Australia.
A lot of texts as well. A lot of love for Bad Boy Bubby. Yes. Filmed in Port Adelaide. Dave the Butcher texted in about that.
Memories is what we do when we flash back with Michael Smith, who joins us from 7 News now. Morning to you, Michael.
Good morning, guys. I've got to say it was nice to hear in the 7 o'clock news with Mel that the Queen is back to her regular duties. And appropriately, we have a very regal flashback for you today. It was 40 years ago this week, just a few months before he walked down the aisle at St Paul's, that Prince Charles was walking the red carpet at the Festival Theatre. This was for South Australia's first ever royal charity performance. Barry Crocker was the MC. Have a listen to some of his vintage shtick.
In all fairness, I must say that I have appeared before His Royal Highness 3 times now. And so I guess it was a bit of a case of, oh, not him again. But I'm sure that Prince Charles feels the same way.
He should have gone full Barry McKenzie on him.
That would have been interesting, wouldn't it? I spoke to Barry Crockett the other day. He's 85 and he's still as sharp as a tack. Very funny man. How's this for a lineup at the concert? A stellar lineup of particularly South Australian stars. Julie Anthony was there, Sir Robert Helpman, Dennis Olsen. Some of the others were the Pembroke Girls Choir, Tommy Tico, June Bronhill, and Kamal, who I've spoken to. He said it was like meeting God when he met Prince Charles. And interestingly, there must have been some sort of airline strike at the time, and he wasn't able to bring his family here from Sydney. And he explained that to Prince Charles, and Charles said, well, actually, I'm going to be playing polo in Sydney next week. Why don't you bring them to meet me? And he did. He was true to his word. And I think Kamal got some credibility with his family because Prince Charles said, hey, your old man's not a bad singer.
Oh, wow, that's terrific. Well, Kamal's got a big link to Adelaide because wasn't he an overseas student and he was billeted at Dean Brown's house with Dean Brown's family?
I didn't know the Dean Brown connection, but he certainly said he got a lot of support from Rupert Murdoch when he first came to Adelaide.
Yeah, he did.
And he said that being invited to perform in something like the 1981 Royal Variety performance really helped with his self-identity and standing in the community. It was like he'd finally been accepted in South Australia. And, of course, he's just gone on to bigger and better things ever since.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff, Michael.
Good on you, Michael.
7 News flashback.
Michael Smith. It's 23 after 7. We just got a really terrific text. Thomas is listening in from Osaka in Japan. Great city, Osaka. By the way,
I've never been to Japan.
Osaka is beautiful. He says, listening to you from Osaka, where we have a current state of emergency going, no one here wants the Olympics. Polls show 70 to 80% of people want them cancelled. About 1% of the population here has been vaccinated. In Tokyo, they only test about 10,000 people a day, but the government is claiming they'll test 10,000 extra, that's including athletes, officials and coaches, a day during the Olympics. But what's that mean then for the general populace? Hospitals in Osaka are at peak capacity and people are dying at home and in ambulances. Volunteers have been asking how they'll be protected during the Games and have been told you'll receive a face mask and have access to hand sanitizer. The Olympics are going to be a disaster for Japan and the people here are really hoping they're cancelled. Thomas, thank you for that. That's an insight.
That is fascinating.
Against that backdrop, it is amazing to think there's any chance it'll go ahead.
Yeah. Wonder what Thomas is up to in Japan.
Let us know,
Must be an
Thomas.
expat South Aussie.
We don't have to read it out on the air.
No.
Just for our identification.
Yeah, we're just interested.
All right, let's talk sport now. We've sort of started the conversation, but let's do it in a South Australian sense. Used vehicle stock always changing at North Point Toyota, Hillcrest, Prospect and Port Augusta. It is the North Point Way. Expectation today that the prison bars jumper will be given the okay by the AFL and Port Adelaide. The question is whether Port can wear it in the showdown. Warren Treadray spoke with Stephen Rowe and he's not so confident.
The million-dollar question before we go to the break. Within the next 48 hours, we were told from AFL, Port will get their answer on Port's black and white heritage jumper. Now, I know you work the phones. You worky. What can you share?
Well, I can tell you I've been on the phones all day and no one at Alberton knows. And if they do know, they're keeping it quiet.
Did you get told what I got told? They're optimistic.
The longer it goes,
the more concerned you come.
I don't, if I had to put my house on it right now, which I don't plan on losing a house, I would think it's unlikely more so than likely.
You're kidding.
Yeah. Port Adelaide presented the AFL Senior Exec or Commission, one of the two, about the positives and what they're asking. And let's face it, at the end of the day...
It's worth $250,000 to them. So the AFL's going to say no.
I think it's more likely no.
Oh, please.
You look at this and you go, what is Port is asking is for one. Yeah, they want two, but... you don't expect Adelaide to do Port.
No, they won't. They won't get two. They'll never get two.
Ideally, you want one. And Collingwood's in disarray. They can say what they want. They've appointed a chairman or a president who is part of all the other issues that Eddie was a part of. He's saying now that president is now saying, we'll go and ask our people. I don't think most Collingwood fans care.
They wouldn't.
If it's one game. But the AFL has sat on this for, what I'm told, 4.5 months?
They're a bit weak.
No, not they're just a little bit weak. They govern by letting the clubs move the chess pieces. Show some leadership. And you know what? I wouldn't be coming to town if I was a senior AFL exec if they roll this one out.
As a football fan...
I totally agree with everything Trent has just said.
Yeah.
I would have thought with Eddie out of the way, the AFL could just say, listen, we know he was obsessed with this. We're not. And it's part of Port's heritage too. They can wear it. I don't think they should be allowed to wear it any game they want.
As a neutral,
playing against Collingwood.
This is the most tedious and dumbest debate and the most insular and inward-looking debate that there is in Australian rules football.
It's pathetic, isn't it? But Treaders is dead right. I don't think Collingwood fans would lose too much sleep over it.
We live in an environment now where, due to total commercialism, everyone's got clash strips, specialist strips for certain dates, 3 different looks that they wheel out and change every single season. This jumper has never been less sacred. Let's just end this farce. But
isn't that an argument? That's an argument in favour of letting Port do it, because
that's what I'm saying.
There's so many jumpers now
let them do it.
They're worth as much as tea towels. It's like, have you got the new away strip?
That's what I'm saying. It's literally what I'm saying. But let them do it.
But because this one has got meaning.
Yeah, but I don't think any of them have meaning.
Oh no! Well, the old original ones do. Mate, I've still got like a 1960s era lace-up skirt Guernsey that I've got a snowball's chance in hell of ever fitting into it.
Yeah, but would you care if then someone else came out with something similar?
Yes.
So
it's a sacred object.
So you think Collingwood are right?
It's the one
you
that all the skirt
right?
sides wore in the 60s when they were winning flags every year.
So you think Eddie's right?
No, I think that both Port and Collingwood, I can understand why they're so custodial about it. What I'm saying is Collingwood have to recognise that the prison bars are just as much a part of Port's history as the black and white strip is to Collingwood. It's just a coincidence that the two sides have got the same jumper. Collingwood are the ones with the problem. They've got to learn to deal with the fact that Port have history too.
Yeah, I think it should just be open slather.
Yeah, but there are certain items that are different from the brand new marketing-driven away strip.
the horse has bolted. It's a commercial pursuit from the AFL.
But that's what makes the original jumpers so much more
if you didn't
important.
Want it, that's right. So just let Port do it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm saying that too.
If you didn't, like, if you wanted, if there was something sacred about it, no one would have ever changed. But we decided that it was better for the game if kids can get the new one every second year. So, frankly, that's the world.
Yes, but don't go lumping these crappy new gimmicky jumpers in with the same holy fabric worn by P. Bagshaw in 1968. Thank you, mate. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah. I've never really found the time to care about jumpers of sporting clubs. It just doesn't worry me. All right, it's...
Haven't you got a vintage 97, 98 jumper somewhere from back in the olden days when the Crows could win premierships?
Yeah, but I don't... There's nothing about me that goes, well, this is a special artefact. It's just a bloody jumper. All right, so now, what are we doing? North Point Toyota. Used vehicle stock always change at North Point Toyota, Hillcrest, Prospect and Port Augusta. It's the North Point way. Sean Fuster described this all as sports ball. Thankfully, he won't come in to talk about that. He'll be in to go around the course.
The little things that make a big difference to your day, like a thank you email from a colleague or a smile from a stranger on the train. And it can all start here with a healthy, delicious breakfast made with the goodness of Aussie-made Pura milk. It's got 8 essential nutrients and vitamins to kickstart your morning and set you up for the day ahead. So start your day the positive way with Pura.
Decided you need to get behind the wheel of a new Mazda? You don't have to wait for end of financial year sales. Mawson Lakes Mazda has amazing deals across the entire range of new Mazdas right now. With up to 300 cars on site, you're sure to find the model and colours you're dreaming of. Or drive away in a low-kilometre demo before the crush of end of financial year sales. Don't wait months. Get into Mawson Lakes Mazda now. Just a short drive from the city.
Never before has a number meant so much. The 19th at West, a stunning home and land release offering uninterrupted views across the manicured fairways of the Grange Golf Club or looking over the green open spaces of West's Linear Park. This is as good as it gets, folks. It's just stunning.
And the good news is that you can choose from 2, 3 and 4 bedroom architecturally designed homes priced from just $708,000.
Whether you're looking for a spacious family home, a new outlook as you downsize, or a beautiful step into Adelaide's property market, you'll enjoy a lifestyle that's truly above par.
And as you can imagine, these stunning homes will sell fast, so act today and secure your future in a truly beautiful part of Adelaide. Visit the19thwest.com.au.
Peter Shearer Menswear is the brand with the brands. For more than 50 years, our experience has put us ahead of the latest fashion trends. Always. As the largest independently owned menswear brand in South Australia, we will match any genuine price on identical items. Always. But most importantly, our staff are helpful, honest and understand all body shapes are unique. The Peter Shearer Menswear commitment to ensuring customer satisfaction means we give right and honest advice. Always. Peter Shearer Menswear. Rundle Mall, Glenelg, Mount Barker and online.
At Lendlease Retirement Villages this May, the kettle's on for personalised tea and tour appointments. See homes, community spaces or learn about contract options. To book, visit teaandtour.com.au or call 1800 550 550.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny today and 22 with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Trust Physio Extra. Norwood, Purie Street, Marion, Hallicove, Seaford and Victor Harbour. PhysioExtra.com.
Another night, another car fire. A Toyota Kluger station wagon was torched at Dudley Park around 5 a.m. The vehicle may have been stolen. A woman has a date with the courts after a hotel window was allegedly smashed at Port Adelaide. The incident on Commercial Road happened shortly after midnight. A 25-year-old from Kilburn was arrested and charged with property damage. Home invasions in SA were down over the past 12 months. SAPOL's February crime figures show there were 3,000 less incidents. Police Minister Vincent Tarzia says the results are pleasing.
In comparison to the previous rolling year, total offences against property decreased by over 25,000 crimes. Theft and related offences continued with a decrease of over 17,000 incidents. Assaults against police dipped by 24%, aggravated robberies down 30%, and serious assault resulting in injury also fell 4%.
Makeshift funeral pyres are being built in India's capital as crematoriums reach capacity amid the country's COVID crisis. Vital medical supplies are starting to reach the country. Federal Home Affairs Minister says Australia has sent aid.
We will be providing ventilators, gloves, masks,
face shields, and we'll be doing all that we can to support India as it goes through this terrible time.
Karen Andrews says India's COVID death toll is nearing 200,000. Australian athletes are being given early access to coronavirus vaccines ahead of the Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics. Just over 2,000 athletes and staff will be vaccinated under Phase 1B of the rollout. Japan has declared its third COVID state of emergency. The Olympics start in late July. Americans who are fully vaccinated against coronavirus no longer need to wear face masks outdoors unless in crowded settings. Nearly 96 million people in the US have received their required doses, but President Joe Biden is urging more people to receive the shot.
For those who haven't gotten their vaccination yet, especially if you're younger or think you don't need it, this is another great reason to go get vaccinated now.
Former Prime Minister John Howard says he's grateful for the support he received when overhauling gun laws in the wake of the Port Arthur massacre. It's been 25 years since 35 people were killed in the country's worst mass shooting. Mr Howard says people wanted serious change.
There was widespread public support. There was opposition in parts of regional Australia in the bush. There was. And I've never forgotten the tremendous support I received from Tim Fischer and John Anderson, the two National Party leaders, as well as Rob Borbidge, the then National Party Premier of Queensland.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to $300 on selected Asco dishwashers at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide midfielder Sam Powell-Pepper is a strong chance to return to the senior side this week as they prepare to take on Brisbane on Saturday night at the Gabba. Powell-Pepper has spent the past fortnight in the Sandful. Assistant coach Jared Schofield telling Rowie he's not far off.
Yeah, look, he's right in the mix. Sam, credit to him. He had a fantastic game against the Bays, or down Glenelg, down the Bay. And, yeah, look, he played the Sam Powell-Pepper way, really hunted the footy well. But it was just his ability to sort of run out the game that we were pleased with his performance.
The NRL is considering a radical move of splitting the competition into two 9-team conferences. The two new teams would include a new team from Brisbane and a second New Zealand team. One conference would feature all Sydney teams. Racing industry experts are calling for mandatory thorough health screenings of international horses entered into the Melbourne Cup. A report has found Anthony Van Dyke, who was euthanised after last year's race, was lame just a month before. To soccer, and Real Madrid and Chelsea have played out a 1-1 draw in the opening leg of the European Champions League semi-final tie. Christian Pulisic opened the scoring for Chelsea in the 14th minute, but the home side had their equaliser 15 minutes later.
Benzema, brilliant. He's done it again. And Karim Benzema has rammed in the equaliser.
The second leg will be played next week. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, second year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Few pranks to look out for this morning. Salisbury East, Main North Road near McIntyre Road. Multi-vehicle collision there with debris on the road. That's adding to inbound delays around the roadworks. Another prank at Edinburgh, Peachy Road near Bellchambers Road. Debris on the road there as well. And urgent gasworks this morning, Flinders Park, Grange Road near Hammond Road, causing delays. And getting busy this morning, Mount Osmond, the freeway up track. The right-hand lane is closed. Speed restrictions both ways there. Need to jazz up your day? Taste the crunch with an Aussie-grown Jazz Apple. Look for the blue apple sticker at your supermarket or grocer and enjoy the jazz sensation. Jazz Apples, always refreshing. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
Mostly sunny 22 today, mostly sunny tomorrow 24, Friday sunny 26. Right now it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 to 8, it's time to go round the court. Sean Fuster's in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. Morning to you, Sean.
Good morning, gentlemen, and listeners everywhere.
That was very radio of you, Sean.
Yeah, well, it certainly was. You did a good article this morning, accompanied with a terrific picture, and every criminal story needs someone with a good nickname. The Overall Bandit, and it's pretty obvious how he got the name looking at the picture this morning in the paper. Tell us about this story.
Well, this is Andrew Dominic Davey, who was once one half of the most feared armed robbery duo in South Australia for several months, several years. There, he and his other half. Remember that movie, the Heath Ledger movie, Two Hands?
Yeah.
About the robbers?
Yeah.
Inspired by that movie, they absolutely terrorised Adelaide. Shotguns, axes, weapons, storming into banks, wearing their matching overalls, wearing their balaclava beanies, robbing places, terrifying people. When they got jailed, they only got 7 years. So Davey has finished his 7-year term, and with all the options available, he's decided, well, I might get on the gear. So from bad to worse, he decides to get on meth, ends up racking up a massive drug debt, and instead of, turning to the cops, going and getting some counselling, turning his life around, he decides, well, best thing I can possibly do is become a drug dealer. Yeah. So he's gone from being one of the state's most feared and successful bank robbers to one of the state's least successful and most incompetent drug dealers. Now he's looking at a massive stretch of time all over again.
It's just staggering. How do you sustain a $2,000 a week drug habit? $2,000 a week he was spending on cocaine.
And the interesting thing is both he and his other mate came from good families. One of their defences and the overall bandits was, we've got good supportive families, Your Honour. Maybe that's why he had $2,000 a week to spare.
That's worth just dwelling on for a moment. So $2,000 a week, that after tax.
You're going to earn 200 grand to pay for it
You're
all.
on 200 grand, and you're not buying food, by the way.
Yeah, nothing. You're not paying rent. You're not paying your council rates. You're not paying for your car.
That's an unfathomable.
Well, hang on, he's stealing cars. Be fair, he's stealing cars to get everywhere.
What if he sounds like he's a deluded, obsessive type person?
Well, he wanted to have the same confidence as Heath Ledger's character, so therefore he robbed banks. I'm wondering who his movie impetus was for his drug dealing.
Two Hands.
Yeah, he was all about two hands. He was obsessed with two hands. That's what's
really
caused the robberies. So I'm wondering which drug movie he's decided he's built in now.
He missed the message of Two Hands, clearly.
Don't they all?
Yeah. Well, terrific Australian film, but it actually features one of the most hilarious bungled bank robbery attempts in history, where one of the guys knocks himself out trying to hurdle the counter at the bank.
That's right. That's right.
I can't imagine watching that and going, actually, this is awesome. I'll definitely do this.
Maybe it's like the guy that goes, I'll join SAPOL because I love the Keystone Cops.
Yeah, that's what it'd be like.
Not the inspiration we're looking for.
No,
sorry.
not at all.
Has he been put away yet, or is he awaiting sentencing?
Sentencing in July. The judge has said, look, I understand that this was a bit of coercion. You were threatened into becoming a drug dealer, but at the same time, you had your own choices laid out in front of you. And as the prosecutor said, you get out of prison, you get on the gear, the consequence is pretty inevitable.
Yeah, well, these are all choices too.
All choices.
Like, let's not go down the path of saying, oh, well, that poor man became a drug addict. Like, no one was holding a gun to his head.
No, look, when you get out on parole, you actually have choices.
Well, let's talk about parole for a moment, Sean. How many chances should you get when you're on parole?
Well, according to the South Australian system, if you're a convicted rapist-murderer, you get at least 5.
5? This story is staggering, and we just should make clear this is an entirely separate story. But someone's on to their 5th chance.
That's
or is
right.
it their 6th chance? Have they been given 5 allowances for parole breaches?
No, this is Jonathan Bakewell, who is responsible for a murder in the Northern Territory in the early 1980s. Killed a woman by the name of Anne-Marie Cullerton in her home, broke in and attacked her, raped her, killed her. He got moved to South Australia while still serving his sentence because his elderly father was nearby. Made him our problem. He's been released on parole 5 times. He has breached that parole 4 times. And late last month, he allegedly breached it a 5th time. Now, we have to say allegedly at this point because the parole board has yet to hear this breach and determine whether or not it's a breach. Most of the time, it seems, this guy likes to get out and, strangely enough, get back on the gear again, which he was on when he committed his rape murder. Now, the sister of the victim, her name is Eileen Cullerton, she's based interstate. Eileen has been running a Change.org petition to try to get the laws changed federally to say that when your crime is a combination of sex and murder crimes, you're ineligible for parole.
Yeah, totally. You should be. You should be. And as you're talking about this, Sean, like, I think I said on air a few weeks ago, I was almost crying the other day at home reading every word of the coroner's report about Gail Woodford.
Yep.
And the thing that is so distressing about it is that it was completely avoidable.
Yeah, that's right.
And the bloke who killed her had raped another nurse in the exact same town in the APY land only a few years prior. He had committed 15 different sexual offences from the age of 19 onwards. And the coroner says, in that case, he had, and I'm paraphrasing here, but pretty much in shorthand front bar speak, the coroner said this guy could not be helped.
Well,
he was beyond redemption.
Go back to Mark Aaron Rust, who killed Megumi Suzuki and Maya Jakic. He had a run of sexual crimes, starting at flashing, building up to rape, before turning to rape and murder.
So my point is,
instance.
what value is there in us having regular fireside chats on air with our great friend Aman Abrahimzadeh about gendered language and broader issues around the conduct of our parliaments and the behaviour of staffers and all of these things that are rightly being identified as challenges. Yet at the same time, when we actually do catch blokes who rape women, it's treated like a glorified car theft or something, where it's like, you just make sure you don't do it again. It's like, no. If you've done that once, and I say this is someone with a mother and a wife and a daughter, you're just taken out of circulation.
I've always said sex-based crimes are worse than murder. In the case of a murder, a victim's suffering is over.
Yeah,
or worse,
totally.
but their suffering is over. A victim, a survivor of sexual violence, suffers forever. That is an unending death. No matter how much work they do to get over that, that is still something that's with them.
But what is the point of having like White Ribbon Day, yet persisting with a justice system that does this?
Because the justice system needs to recognise that sex-based crimes aren't about sex. They're about power. And that's exactly why someone like Bakewell remains dangerous. The parole board can say all they like, oh, he's sick, he's infirm, he's not going to hurt anybody again. If he feels powerless, he's going to seek to take that power back by committing the sort of crime he did in the 1980s. That is something we can be afraid of.
Some people are just so screwed up that we should just put the violins away and say, mate, look, it's...
Well, we do it for pedophiles.
Well, exactly.
After XX, we do that for pedophiles. We've had those laws changed for Colin Humphreys. If you are an uncontrollable male sex predator and you prey on children, you can't satisfy two psychologists that you're going to stop. Sorry, you don't get out again. Why is this different?
Well, what? It's okay to do it to women, is it?
Apparently so.
Yeah, well, it's
disgusting, isn't it?
I just don't understand why there isn't more political will to actually get involved in this area where our parliaments, as the representatives of the people who write statutes that guide the judiciary as to how these people must be treated.
You mean the judiciary that has a sitting member that allegedly, according to the Equal Opportunity Commissioner report, has engaged in harassing behaviour themselves? That judiciary.
I thought they said they were all former.
The judiciary that was obsessed with the fact and saying publicly it was all former members of the judiciary, which caused an alleged victim of harassment to have to go back to the Equal Opportunity Commissioner and say it was a sitting member of the bench, for the Equal Opportunity Commissioner to issue a response and the courts to now set up a complaints line, an email complaints line. That's the response to an allegation that a sitting judge has been involved in this kind of behaviour, an email address.
Well, I'd like our representatives to go over their head, frankly. Change the law.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
what you're there for. There's no one's marching in the street to say we're being too harsh on rapists.
Yeah.
Sean, Just Lawful, you've got a new case coming up.
That's right. We have finished the case of the death of Jack Hanley. You can hear all of those episodes now on Spotify, on iTunes, and on the AA website. Starting this week, Daniel and I move into the Hillier triple murder case. That's the murders of Adeline Yvette Wilson-Rigney and her children, Amber and Corey. To say that it's fraught is to put it small, but we need to talk about this case. We need to tease out the connections involving Families SA. We need to tease out all the things to do with the way that the court case happened, and also give a voice to their family who haven't been able to talk as much as they would like about some of the things that they went through at the hands of prosecutors who were handling this case.
Good on you, Sean.
Take care, guys.
Sean Schuster, round the courts, Just Lawful, an advertiser of fame. We're going to have to shorten the segment, Sean, just to fit in all the things you do for me that I have to mention at the end.
I'm tired.
All right, let's check traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, second year running, davepotterhonda.com.au.
Look out for a rain causing a few delays this morning at Salisbury East. That's in Main North Road near McIntyre Road. A few cars involved in that. Bit of debris on the road is causing delays around those roadworks too. Leave early if you've got to head that way. Flinders Park, there's urgent gas works there this morning. That's Grange Road near Hammond Road, and getting busy for the drive-in South Road at Grange Road. And Mount Osmond, the freeway up track. The right-hand lane is closed there. Speed restrictions both ways too. Kennard's Hire is making trade easy with a 2-hour delivery promise, express load and go service, and heaps more. Visit your local Kennard's Hire branch today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Looking for a gorgeous gift this Mother's Day? FIVEaa Hamilton offers a beautiful, bright gift guide full of stunning pieces. If you can't decide between all the superb accessories and garments available, you can always grab one of their popular FIVEaa Hamilton gift cards. FIVEaa Hamilton take the guesswork out of Mother's Day. For a short time only, you will receive a free gift with purchase. T's and C's apply. So hurry into FIVEaa Hamilton to find the perfect Mother's Day gift. In-store, online, or by mail order right now.
Nothing beats that new car experience, and you'll still be feeling it long after you drive away in a new Kluger 7-seat hybrid SUV from Jarvis Toyota. With all-wheel drive hybrid power and intelligent safety technology, the Kluger is where freedom meets family. The buzz around the new Kluger is huge, so register your interest at Jarvis Toyota, Clovelly Park today. Rediscover the road in the all-new Toyota Kluger Hybrid at Jarvis Toyota, South Road, Clovelly Park, proudly celebrating 20 years of great deals.
Don't worry, there's nothing wrong with your hearing. You are, in fact, hearing double right now.
That's right. It's all because Westside Energy are the first in SA to double your feed-in tariff. That's right. They will double your feed-in tariff.
If that went 3 seconds longer, our ratings would have gone down quicker than the Oscars. Get a home battery connected to your current solar system, or have a whole new solar system installed, plus a home battery, and Westside Energy will arrange to have the current average feed-in tariff doubled. It also applies if you have a whole new solar system and battery installed.
That's right. You can double your feed-in tariff and eliminate your current electricity bill. Westside Energy will show you how. Visit westsideenergy.com.au. Some T's and C's apply.
Dr. Greg Keane explains how SportsMed puts patients first every day.
SportsMed is different. We have a clinic and hospital with specialists, doctors, physios and podiatrists all together in one location. There's also pathology, radiology, pharmacy and a cafe. This makes life easier for our patients because their appointments can all happen right here. It also lets us diagnose issues quickly, leading to high quality, cost-effective care.
And their patients love it. SportsMed.
Start living life again with our expert help.
Sportsmed.com.au.
Good leaders always look to support local, and they stay local. Like Leader Computers, Australia's largest Australian-owned PC manufacturer, based right here in South Australia. Having a world-class manufacturer of computers is a big win for our state, providing jobs and local support you simply can't get from overseas companies. Looking for the latest Intel and Microsoft-based computers at great pricing with the huge benefit of local support? Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Nine to 8. Peter and Woodville's called in with a review, I think, we haven't seen it yet, of Mortal Kombat. Topped the US box office over the weekend, made $23.3 million, 29.9 million Australian. What did you think of it, Peter?
Yeah, no, it was good. A bit bloodthirsty. Yeah.
When did you see it, Peter? Did you go to the premiere at Marion?
No, I saw it yesterday at 7 Odeon.
Oh, yeah, okay, beautiful.
So was it sort of cartoony blood, or was it really just sort of gross, realistic blood?
It was gross. It started off like Kaipo Forest, right?
Okay.
Kaipo Forest there, and it was interesting. And then, Port Adelaide and the warehouses there, where they have the weddings.
So was it instantly recognisable as filmed in South Australia? Could you tell?
Yeah, I asked the two ladies there, and I knew it was Cooper Pedy, the Breakaways, and Torrens Island. But they said, no, Kaipo Forest. That was the beginning. And Port Adelaide there, Torrens Island, but Cooper Pedy as well, the Breakaways. You've been to Cooper Pedy, haven't you?
I've never been to Cooper Pedy.
I've not been to Cooper Pedy.
You have to go there. You've got to see those breakaways. Not just because Cooper Pedy was covered in the ocean years ago, millions of years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And you see these beautiful formations of the breakaways.
So, Peter, what would you give it out of 5?
I'll give it 4.5 or 4.
Oh,
5.
boy.
I'll give it 5.
You give it 5 stars, Peter. You know they'll put that on the poster, Peter. We Peter at Woodville, 5 stars. Good on you, Peter. Thanks for calling in.
David Stratton,
exactly
Christine
right.
Christine Keel,
Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah, Peter of Woodville.
Peter of Woodville.
Tom Duday as well, maybe.
Well, we'll find out.
I wonder if the dude's seen it yet.
We'll find out. We'll get his Oscars review and take after 8 o'clock today. His tipping was pretty reasonable on that front. 7 to 8. Let's talk weather. Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News joins us. Sporty to Amelia.
Good morning, guys. How are we today?
We're good, Amelia. Now, I was saying earlier, I paid my water bill yesterday for the last 3 months, $895. Where's the rain?
Gee, that's expensive. I'll look, maybe early next week would like to see, but certainly not to end April anyway. We've got a warm and dry end to the month. Single digits this morning, temperature-wise, down to 8.2 degrees in the city, 3.3 at Newry. Lots of lows of 3 around to the Riverland, Maryland, southeast way. We're going for a top of 22 today, warming to 24 Thursday. Friday's peak of the week, or if you're after rain, it's not, 26 degrees and sunny, but we should see sort of light winds around then. Saturday is warmer, 28 degrees. Saturday is also the first day of May, interestingly, and the average top temperature for May is around 18 degrees. So we're sort of going for 10 degrees above that. Warmer, but it'll be windy too ahead of a change, so we're expecting gusty winds. They could whip up dust, so if you're driving out in the regions on Saturday, be extra careful of that because we could see another dusty day with that gusty change on the way. And those conditions are likely to bump up the fire danger too, which is ironic because the fire danger season ends the day before, on the 30th of April. Yeah. So we've got, it could be a dangerous fire day too. Then cooler conditions on Sunday, so 22 degrees. Monday is when we could see a shower or two, but I wouldn't expect it. I wouldn't tell you to stop watering the garden, is what I'll say there.
Yes, no. No,
so keep paying that water bill, my friend.
Absolutely. Price you pay for liking the garden. Thanks, Amelia.
See you guys.
Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News. It's time for our friend Wallace Fogg, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight, Distribution, Warehousing and Local Adelaide Couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
Good morning, early risers. This is Wallace Fogg, and welcome along once again to What's Man on England. What the hell's on in Adelaide? Well, a Scott Morrison Work of the Devil workshop will be held on Saturday at the Tranmere Pickling Factory Auditorium. The keynote speaker will be Mr. Jake Burtderrick, who has some rather controversial things to say, but luckily he will be speaking in tongues. The whole thing will be live streamed on the Devil's Own network, Facebook. Six-a-side floodlit vegan dodgings on again in Marden on Sunday night. It's BYO animal products to attract the vegans and then attempt to avoid them. It's a lot of fun for young and old and carnivorous. Now, with Tasting Australia coming up from the 30th of April to the 9th of May, and remembering how big the Fringe Festival became as an alternative to the Adelaide Festival proper, organisers of the inaugural Tasting Australia Fringe are very excited to announce, for people who don't care about highfalutin gourmet dining, Tasting Australia Fringe is being proudly sponsored by McDonald's, KFC, Hungry Jack's and Subway. Now, during the Tasting Australia Fringe, you can experience all your favourites from nuggets to fries and finish it off with a good 12-incher. When I say they're sponsoring in spirit, because the best part is the Tasting Australia Fringe runs all year round, and for some people, 7 days a week. And finally, the Heart Foundation would like to remind everybody it's never too late to book a heart health check. Well, that's it for this week. I'll catch you next time. This is Wallace Fogg with a quote from Scott Morrison, who said, "Mine in." And now, if you wish to complain about that, please contact our complaints coordinator, David Penberthy, on 8223 In the meantime, it's bye for now. But before I go, don't forget.
Don't go raping me into it, Blakey. That was all your own work.
You and Wallace Fogg.
Yeah, I'm going to have every fundamentalist Christian in Adelaide sending me a complaint now after that one.
Again?
Yeah. No disrespect.
Actually, no. You're always very defensive and
yesterday.
respectful of religious folk, in fact.
Well, exactly. People got the right to
I think Wallace
choose their own faith.
Yeah, you've got a bum steer from Wallace there.
I thought Wallace had a fall. We hadn't heard from Wallace for a while.
No. Well, if he might have a bit of divine intervention that causes a fall in
He might get
short
struck
order.
down with great vengeance and furious anger.
He just might. Helen in Para Hills has called in talking movies. Helen, you saw Mortal Kombat.
No, I didn't see it, but just to let you know that my great niece is the baby in that movie.
Oh, you're joking?
How did that come to be, Helen?
I'm not really sure. Her dad, my nephew, he went over to Indonesia as a teacher. Then his son went to Japan as a interpreter, and because it was shot here, but some of it was also shot in Japan.
Right.
They had to put a photo of their children, their babies and that, in, and she won the part.
Oh, wow.
So your great niece, does she appear in the credits?
Yes, she is.
That's excellent.
That is fantastic. What a buzz.
Yeah.
What a thing to be able to say. You grow up, you had your first film credit by the time you were just months old. Thank you, Helen.
That's great, Helen.
Terrific call.
As her career takes off, she should stay in touch with you, Will, given your starring role in Shine.
Well, I was uncredited, unfortunately. I think it was an oversight. I think there was a few of us in the audience that day that didn't get their names in the
Is that what led to your Fringe performance? Was that part of it? Where you didn't you do Waiting for Godot on your own or something?
that was my comeback. I was a little bit disheartened after not being credited in Shine. I stepped away for about 15 years. Came back to the Fringe, and look, all I'll say is my number
never
is
look back.
The phone's not exactly ringing off the hook, but my number's out there.
You need a new agent.
I think you're right.
Or just an agent.
Peter Shearer Menswear is the brand with the brands. For more than 50 years, our experience has put us ahead of the latest fashion trends. Always. As the largest independently owned menswear brand in South Australia, we will match any genuine price on identical items. Always. But most importantly, our staff are helpful, honest, and understand all body shapes are unique. The Peter Shearer Menswear commitment to ensuring customer satisfaction means we give right and honest advice. Always. Peter Shearer Menswear. Rundle Mall, Glenelg, Mount Barker, and online.
3 words your friends and family never like hearing.
We're moving house.
Well, you can always rely on budget truck and car rentals to help out. From 3-ton moving trucks you can drive on a car licence to vans and moving trailers. Budget car and truck rentals make it easy as to move house. Do it right in half the time and save money with budget car and truck rentals. Call 13 27 27.
It's the little things that make a big difference to your day, like a thank you email from a colleague or a smile from a stranger on the train. And it can all start here with a healthy, delicious breakfast made with the goodness of Aussie-made Pura milk. It's got 8 essential nutrients and vitamins to kickstart your morning and set you up for the day ahead. So start your day the positive way with Pura.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny 22 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Keep your body in shape with Physio Extra Clinical Pilates and group exercise classes. PhysioExtra.com.
The Toyota Kluger has gone up in flames at Dudley Park. The alarm was raised around 5 a.m. The station wagon may have been stolen from the northern suburbs. Health advocacy groups are welcoming news Australia will send medical support to India. Flights from the country have been suspended until at least May 15 as the nation struggles with a major COVID-19 outbreak. The federal government is sending oxygen supplies, ventilators and protective equipment. The End COVID for All campaign's Matt Darvis says it's in everyone's best interest India gets on top of the outbreak.
India has its own vaccine manufacturing capability. The challenge there will be that they were also going to be providing other developing and low-income nations around the world vaccines through the COVAX initiative. So if we can't all get behind India in this moment, we're actually stalling the vaccine rollout across the world.
The Centre for Disease Control in America has announced the easing of restrictions for those who've been vaccinated. Nine's Alison Petrowski reports from the US.
Fully vaccinated Americans are no longer required to wear masks outside, except in large crowds such as packed sporting events and concerts. The guidelines also indicate that those who've received the shot are free to mingle with other vaccinated households. US President Joe Biden appealing to those who remain vaccine hesitant.
This is another great reason to go get vaccinated now.
Nearly 96 million Americans are now fully vaccinated. There's been an 80% drop in deaths in seniors and a 70% decrease in hospitalisations for those over 65.
The crime rate across SA has fallen amid the COVID pandemic. SAPOL's February crime figures show aggravated robberies were down 30% and assaults against police dipped by 24% compared to the previous year. Police Minister Vincent Tarzia says other offences also saw significant falls.
Home invasions dived by over 3,000 incidents over the past 12 months when compared to the previous rolling year. So South Australia's overall crime rate is also 24,000 offences lower when compared to the same 12-month period a decade ago.
There are growing concerns about the effects technology is having on our kids. Nine's Lauren Howarth reports.
A study shows 4 in 5 school children own at least one digital device, and almost a third of them are taking it with them to bed every night. Parents say they're worried about how this is impacting their children's sleep, as well as their interest in playing outdoors. The study has been published by the Gonski Institute for Education at the University of New South Wales. A professor involved in the research has told the Herald 90% of parents admit they are distracted themselves, and this raises questions about how they can help their kids.
Prince Harry and Meghan have been announced as campaign chairs of Global Citizens Vax Live, the concert to reunite the world. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex will join US President Joe Biden, as well as a host of stars, including David Letterman, Jennifer Lopez and Sean Penn. It'll take place in Los Angeles Sunday week, our time. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to 15% on selected Asco cooking appliances at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you for that, Mel. Let's start with football. Plenty of intrigue ahead of the Crows and Port Adelaide main training sessions today, with players pushing for a recall. Sam Berry's a chance to return for Adelaide, while Will Hamill's scans are still being assessed. And Port could bring in Sam Powell-Pepper and Riley Bonner for Saturday night's match against Brisbane. Australia's IPL representatives are under no illusions as to the difficulty they'll have in getting home from COVID-ridden India. Nearly 40 players, staff and commentators remain on the subcontinent. Australian Cricketers Association Chief Executive Todd Greenberg says no one's expecting special treatment in getting home.
Our players are under no expectation for looking for specific favours, and there's no free rides or any expectations for that from our players. What they are looking for, though, is the right information so they can plan accordingly. I mean, there's still a good 4 weeks of the tournament to be played.
Australian Olympic Committee boss Matt Carroll believes the majority of Australians will accept the decision to give athletes priority access to COVID vaccines. More than 2,000 athletes and staff will be reclassified into the 1B group. It puts them in the same phase of the rollout as older Australians and those with underlying health conditions. One game in the A-League overnight, Sydney FC jumping into the top 2 after a 1-0 win against the Melbourne Victory. Meantime, in overseas action, Chelsea's grabbed a crucial away goal in the first leg of its European Champions League tie against Real Madrid, the match finishing in a 1-1 draw. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, 2nd year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Urgent gasworks causing a few delays on the drive in today. Flinders Park, that is. Grange Road near Hammond Road. Another prang also causing some delays today. Salisbury East, Main North Road near McIntyre Road. It's a multi-vehicle prang with debris on the road, adding to some delays on the drive in too. Keep in mind West Lakes this morning. Westlake Boulevard near Turner Drive. Speed and lane restrictions for intersection upgrades. And Mount Osman, the freeway up track. The right-hand lane is closed. Speed restrictions in place there. Buy one, get one free on selected Bridgestone, Yokohama and J-Trax tyres at Bob Jane T-Marts. Ends April 30. Hurry into Bob Jane T-Marts today. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
Mostly sunny today, 22. Mostly sunny tomorrow, 24. Friday sunny and up to 26. Right now it's 11 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In the last hour on Adelaide's 5AA.
Olympians are set to get vaccination preference in Australia. So as of yesterday, the word from the federal government is the Olympic team would be vaccinated as a priority group. Now, do you know who else is in this priority group? Healthcare workers, Indigenous people aged over 55, and people older than 70. So
and 18-year-olds who are really good at swimming and have, awesome lung capacity.
So you as a frontline healthcare worker or someone in an aged care home are in the same sort of treatment plan as Kyle Chalmers.
Yeah, that's right.
Sean Schuster, round the courts, just lawful, and advertiser fame.
I've always said sex-based crimes are worse than murder. In the case of a murder, a victim's suffering is over.
Yeah,
or worse,
totally.
but their suffering is over. A victim, a survivor of sexual violence, suffers forever. That is an unending death. No matter how much work they do to get over that, that is still something that's with them.
But what is the point of having White Ribbon Day, yet persisting with a justice system that does this?
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 after 8, Tom Duday coming up in the next 10 minutes. Then after 8:30, Kai Ma will join us, the Shadow Attorney General, who was flanked by a host of fellow MPs across the political spectrum yesterday to introduce another attempt for the South Australian Parliament to pass voluntary euthanasia law. We'll get into all that shortly. We've just pushed breaking it at 8 aside this morning because the Premier of South Australia joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Premier, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, David.
Thanks for your time, Premier. Would you be able to explain why was it that the state government did not make public the decision to suspend all incoming overseas flights for 3 days?
Press conference on Thursday, Nicola Spurrier and myself saying that we were contemplating taking action because of the increasing numbers. We've been really, really concerned about the situation with India for quite some time. It's a very dramatic situation over there. We had National Cabinet where that was a major focus of that National Cabinet was the increasingly alarming situation in India. The Prime Minister did a press conference after that. I wrote to him on Friday night saying, look, can we just have a pause while we get this new PCR 72-hour testing regime in place? And he responded and said, yes, look, from time to time, these flights do move around. But we're just...
But it was all flights. It wasn't just Indian flights. It was all overseas flights, wasn't it?
Well, yes. I suppose the concern that we had with some of those flights that were coming in was that there were people coming from India into, for example, Qatar, transferring, and that's why we put this new situation in place which requires people coming in from India to stay in that country where they sort of get onto the flight directly to Adelaide. And they've got to be there for 72 hours and return a negative
Did it even
PCR
include like all the flights from New Zealand, for example?
No. I don't think we've got a flight coming in from New Zealand till May. So we have a situation in South Australia where we don't have any direct flights, but we do have people transferring from India in, for example, Qatar. And that's why we've put this new arrangement in place. And I was really pleased that the National Cabinet sort of accepted that. Yes, there was a reduction made on Friday with the numbers coming in from India. Now that's moved to an escalated situation now, per the Prime Minister's conversation yesterday. But we didn't have direct flights, but we still had people coming in. And I suppose Nicola was concerned about the situation in India. Paul Kelly was concerned about the situation in India. Our hearts sort of break for the devastating situation there. They went from a pretty controlled situation sort of 4 or 5 weeks ago to a situation now where they've been up above 350,000 people.
Yeah, we're certainly not saying it was a bad. We're certainly not saying it was a bad decision. Indeed, we said earlier in the show we suspect overwhelmingly people in South Australia would have supported it. We just couldn't understand why it wasn't made public.
Well, as I said Thursday, we did a press conference down at the Repat Hospital, and we said that we were contemplating taking whatever action was required because we were concerned about those numbers escalating. And this is what we've tried to do from day one, is just to take immediate action, and that's what we did again Friday night. Now, yesterday we had one new infection, but that was one not from somebody arriving in that day, but this is what often happens is somebody that's a close contact from a family member becomes infected several days after their mother, their father, or or their brother or sister become infected. And that's why we move them to the quarantine hotel, which is there for people that have tested positive. I think we're the only place, well, in fact, I'm sure we're the only place in Australia which has got that dedicated hotel for COVID-19 positive patients. And we don't just move the person who has become infected themselves, but we move all of the close contacts, because very often the close contacts return a positive test a day or so later.
We got texts from people this morning, Premier, that are concerned that there might be Olympians that are put ahead of vulnerable people and their family in the vaccination queue. What would you say to them?
We haven't contemplated that in South Australia. It might be something that comes up at the National Cabinet. Look, I personally think anybody that goes overseas, we should be looking at, making sure that they can be vaccinated. We don't have an agreement on that at the National Cabinet level yet. But any Australian citizen, and this often happens, somebody for compassionate reasons needs to go to another country. I personally think that they should be vaccinated. We don't want them becoming ill while they're away. And then bringing that back to Australia. So we know that the vaccination won't completely 100% eliminate the potential for people becoming infected, but we do know it significantly reduces that. And the last thing we want is Australians who's going overseas for whatever reason coming back with that infection.
No, I think the point though, Premier, is like Sue from Mylor texted saying her mum is in aged care and still hasn't been vaccinated and doesn't know when she will be vaccinated. And Sue in Redwood Park has texted saying that her next door neighbour's 94 and she hasn't been told when she's going to be vaccinated. So how do you get through the optics of Australia potentially doing everything it can to ensure that the fittest people in the country get vaccinated so they can take part in a sporting event when people in aged care haven't all been vaccinated yet?
Yeah, our highest priority is to start with the most vulnerable, and I think you're right, and your callers are right. We want to start with those people who are in aged care facilities, or those people that are on the front line, those people in our quarantine hotels, and get through them first and move through it in a graduated way. So I'm not sure why your caller's mother in an aged care facility hasn't been done at this stage. They are a priority area for us, and look, if they haven't been done now, I'm hopeful that that will be in the next couple of days, because you're 100% right. Even though we don't have widespread community transmission, we do want to be as prepared as we possibly can. And so starting with the most vulnerable has been the methodology that we've adopted here in Australia, and I 100% support that.
Have you established yet, Premier, what the state of play would need to be in Australia and around the world for when you can remove the state of emergency?
Well, no is the answer to that. We have a piece of legislation, the Emergency Management Act, which talks about the conditions that we have to declare a state emergency, and they have been triggered because we do have border restrictions. We do look from time to time at how we would adjust that. I suppose we've got one option, trying to do it in the middle of a declared major emergency, or wait till it's over. I think the thinking of Cabinet at the moment is to wait until it's over, but we're always looking at options because it has been 12 months. Quite frankly, I'm not sure that it directly affects anybody's life, whether or not we operate, what piece of legislation that we operate under. But I think you're quite right. The major emergency, or the Emergency Management Act, really contemplated short-lived major emergency declarations, usually with a flood or a fire, not something like a pandemic. So we've acknowledged that we will need to adjust that. It's just what the time frame for that is. Of course, it's not permanent. It comes back to Cabinet every month, and it's Cabinet that makes the ultimate decision that continues. The Police Commissioner, of course, writes to me, and that is granted.
Premier Stephen Marshall, thanks very much for joining us this morning on 5AA.
All right, let's check traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter. Enjoy huge savings and factory bonuses on 2021 CRVs at Australia's #1. That's Dave Potter Honda.
Urgent gas works this morning at Flinders Park, slowing the drive-in, Grange Road near Hammond Road. Getting busy, quite a few spots on the drive-in this morning too. Salisbury Highway approaching Eldersmith Road, Anzac Highway South Road quite busy, and the freeway up track through Mount Osman. The right-hand lane is closed and speed restrictions both ways there. A couple of speed cameras to look out for, North Street, Henley Beach and Old Port Road, Royal Park. At amazon.com.au, new customers enjoy free delivery on their first eligible order. T's and C's apply. Shop amazon.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Roey's Sport Show. Warren Treadray is here.
Ronnie Philthorpe, 5 goals.
Oh, that was roses.
You play talent.
And you were there. I have not seen an Adelaide forward consistently launch of the footy since Modra.
Okay. He does meet it high in the air, doesn't he?
But
at its highest point.
Texas doing it a little bit more of late, but it's never been his go-to.
4 p.m. weekdays.
So that was a breath of fresh air.
It was. Why did it take 6 rounds?
That's the question you put to the coaches.
Okay.
Roey's Sport Show on 5AA.
Firsts are always special moments. First kiss, firstborn, first to double your feed-in tariff. Westside Energy are the first in SA to double your feed-in tariff. Get a home battery connected to your current solar system or have a new solar system installed plus a home battery, and Westside Energy will double the current average feed-in tariff. Double your feed-in tariff and eliminate your current electricity bill. Visit westsidenergy.com.au. T's and C's apply.
If you want to feel great about the milk you pour in your tea and coffee, over your cereal or in your smoothie, make sure it's from the Flurio Milk Company. Because it's a great feeling buying from people who love SA as much as you do. 3 words make all the difference. Flurio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it. Whew, feel like a cuppa now.
Flurio Milk Company, celebrating 15 years of SA business. FlurioMilkco.com.au.
Now, have you heard the saying, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey? Well, it could not be truer than when it comes to home renovations. It's hard to get excited about a new bathroom or kitchen reno if the whole process has been a living nightmare.
Not so at Bi-Urban Kitchens and Bathrooms, or indeed Bi-Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens. You can say it any way you want, because they do both bathrooms and kitchens. I know people who've had work done for them by the guys at Bi-Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, and they actually miss the process afterwards because they say the entire thing is just runs like a German band. Coxie and the entire team, they do it so smoothly. They go to amazing lengths to ensure the whole process is trouble-free. From meeting Tammy, affectionately known as the Boss Lady, through to their incredible design team and millimetre-perfect tradies, the tidiest tradespeople you will ever meet, and what's more, they're on time.
People often ask Bi-Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens about tasks that are beyond their remit based on how smooth the process was. They'll say, do you do dinner? Do you do the school run?
Do you do quarantine programs?
Can you do quarantine programs?
Right.
Start your journey to a stunning and worry-free home renovation with Bi-Urban Bathrooms, Kitchens, flooring and shutters. Adelaide's home renovation experts. Visit biurban.com.au.
Decided you need to get behind the wheel of a new Mazda? You don't have to wait for end of financial year sales. Mawson Lakes Mazda has amazing deals across the entire range of new Mazdas right now. With up to 300 cars on site, you're sure to find the model and colours you're dreaming of. Or drive away in a low-kilometre demo before the crush of end of financial year sales. Don't wait months. Get into Mawson Lakes Mazda now. Just a short drive from the city.
Moving day-to-day business from this
You have 8 missed calls
to this.
Great, so I'll see you at 3.
It starts with a business mobile plan that helps you work on the go. Search Optus Business today. Great business starts with yes.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
21 minutes after 8, Tom Dudet coming up in just a moment.
Watch out in Ingle Farm for this kangaroo. There's a kangaroo on the loose. Graham rang in just before 8 o'clock, actually. So hopefully the roo is no longer there. But who knows?
Let us know. If you've got eyes on the roo, call us, 8223 or text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line, 044808 1395. Lots of people have been this morning about the federal government decision to vaccinate Australia's Olympic athletes. It would mean they'll be in the same part of the queue as people who are frontline healthcare workers and those over the age of 70. Here's the head of the Australian Olympic Committee, CEO Matt Carroll, a short time ago.
The Australian Olympic team and the Paralympic team will be vaccinated ahead of going to Tokyo. Obviously a great relief for the athletes, the coaches and all the support staff. So we'll have a team of about just under 500 Australian athletes going to the Tokyo Games. Planning is now full steam ahead. The management of the vaccination will be done by the AOC with our partner Aspen Medical. So there's no load on the public system whatsoever. And we'll commence that next week, because obviously some athletes will start leaving Australia to go to competitions in the coming weeks. So we'll manage that plan all the way through to the last few weeks before they get on the planes to Tokyo.
That's him speaking just this morning.
There's a certain blitheness about it, isn't there?
I guess he's in the Olympic movement. This is exciting for them. It's just there's a lack of understanding about how it would be received by the rest of the country.
This is why Australia, like one of the most redolent and loaded terms in Australia, and it's been applied quite brutally in the context of things like border protection, is queue jumper.
Mm.
And you see it manifest itself at the Adelaide Oval. If you're there waiting for some hot chips and a few dim sims and an FU iced coffee, the worst thing you can do in this country is sneak past someone else.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's something hardwired into our psyche as Australians. It was like, mate, I was here first. And just hearing that bloke from the AOC giddy with excitement about it just sounds to me like someone who can't read the room.
And make no mistake about it, the reason we're talking about this in the context of the Olympics and in Australia is because we are behind the 8 ball when it comes to vaccinations. It's not an issue in the US because they're already up to the part where elite athletes get the vaccination. Not an issue in the UK.
Because everyone else has had it.
They're up to the part where they get it naturally, in the normal order, in the queue. We just aren't.
Yeah,
we
that's
aren't.
Right. That's exactly right.
24 after 8. Let's have a look at the fuel situation this morning. Thanks to Dave Potter Honda. Petrol slowly dropping. It's in the high $30s across a lot of Adelaide. $1.38 along Belair Road in Hawthorn. $1.34 at the OTR on the corner of the North-South Motorway in Torrens Road. $1.33 on the Grange Road and Finnan Road intersection of the at the Coles Express there. And $1.29 at the BP on the corner of Frederick Road and West Lakes Boulevard.
When people walk through the doors at Pal's, the first thing they say is wow. Not only because of the size and the selection, but also because of the team. Sam and Jamie have tasted every drop. They and their team can recommend a whiskey that's just as good as that hard-to-find Japanese one, if they don't have it, that is. Or a beautiful red that's reminiscent of that outstanding cellar door you once travelled so far to visit. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pal's, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
As the world changes, spaces change. We should know. For 110 years, Workspace has manufactured through world wars, depressions, and now a pandemic, seeking to inspire productivity in the spaces they shaped. Adapt your space to a changing world with bespoke, high-quality furniture made here in SA. Workspace can manufacture, freight, and install your commercial furniture needs. Get solutions for the spaces of today and tomorrow. Make space work at workspace.com.au.
Check out this hot weekend getaway from NT Now. Private jet charter flying Adelaide to Uluru direct. 5-star accommodation, fully hosted, 3 days and 2 nights. Touring around Uluru and a stack of other memorable experiences. Uluru by private jet, departing Friday, June 11 of the long weekend and new departure added on Friday, July 16. Seats are limited from just $2,099 per person. Search NT Now or book online at ntnow.com.au.
Now, here's 3 words your friends and family never like hearing. We're moving house.
Don't worry, though. If your friends and family are over helping you move, you can always rely on Budget Car and Truck Rentals to help you out.
You can do it all with Budget Car and Truck Rentals, from 3-ton moving trucks that you can drive on a car licence to vans and moving trailers. Budget Car and Truck Rentals make it easy as to move house.
And possibly the best part about using Budget Car and Truck Rentals is that you won't owe your friends and family a house move in return.
Do it right in half the time and save money with Budget Car and Truck Rentals. Call 13 27 27. That's 13 27 27.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. Here's who you can support around Adelaide. Fly Adelaide to Uluru direct on a private charter with NT Now. Fully hosted with 5-star accommodation, sightseeing and stacks of memorable experiences. Book online at ntnow.com.au. The Care Alert Smart Dialer is the only personal alert system that will still provide you help even if there is a mobile network outage. Care Alert. Phone 1300 75 85 95.
What's the trusted Australian off-roading brand made for Australian conditions? TJM. They know the South Australian bush because it's their backyard, just as it's yours. So who better to give the best advice on what equipment you need? Whether you're a novice or an experienced off-roader, see the TJM team. They stand by their products and have been doing it since 1973. Get into TJM today and get off-road tomorrow. Nailsworth and Clovelly Park, tjmsa.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
28 minutes after 8. Jump on the 5AA Facebook live stream right now. We've got a guest in the studio thanks to Leader Computers, Australia's largest PC and server manufacturer, built and serviced right here in Adelaide.
Yeah, well, I'm the dude. So that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness or duder or, El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Tom Duday joins us on 5AA Breakfast for our usual mishmash of football and movies. I don't think there's almost as much in the latter category to talk about as there is in the former at the moment. We'll get to footy first. Good morning to you, Tom.
Morning, mate. It's everyone's favourite time of the week, isn't it?
Certainly is. Now, Tom, I was just saying off air, I can't remember a weirder game of football than this. Like that utterly impeccable halftime scoreline, Crows flying along. I think the league got out to 33 points. No one kicked a point until, the third quarter.
Broke the record.
And then what happened?
Yeah, good question. I'd like to just say the wind changed and then I can put it down to that. But no, obviously we got a few things wrong. Third quarter, we tried to play a bit defensive because they had the wind, and then we sort of took the wind out of our sails a little bit in the sense that we didn't probably attack the game as much as we could have, but we still held on all right. And that fourth quarter, we just played a little bit too much into their hands by kicking long to their numbers a bit too regularly. We probably should have tried to shift the ball a bit more, but... yeah, it's footy. Sometimes you just got to take your opportunities because we still had a few moments in that fourth where we probably still could have won the game. But
do you do that thing that, as a fan, on the night after the game, I was trying to put it out of my head, and then I got the footy app up, and I just kept hitting refresh on the ladder and going, so if we kick one more goal, then we'd be, and if we kicked a couple more against Freo, suddenly we're fourth. And now we've slid out of the 8. Do you relive all of that stuff, or do you just try to go, no, all right, let's just go out and train and go for the 4 points next week? Yeah,
it's very individualised. I sort of stew on my personal stuff-ups. I look at the one-on-ones with Kaczynski, a couple of kicks and things like that, and I replay them in my mind because I can remember everything that I did in a game, so it's sort of a blessing and a curse in that regard because I actually don't forget anything. But I think from a latter point of view, we'll more look at that maybe a few weeks down the line and be like, imagine if we had got them too. But I
think the real curse in life is you have trouble remembering the good bits, but the bad bits stay with you for a long time.
Yeah, I think as humans, we're naturally inclined to lean towards the negative, unfortunately, and that's exactly what I do after a loss.
There were some positives out of the match. We'll get to those as well. Have a look ahead and talk movies in just a moment. Tom today in 5AA Breakfast Studio with us.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny today, a top of 22 with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Trust Physio Extra. Norwood, Purie Street, Marion, Hallicove, Seaford and Victor Harbour. PhysioExtra.com.
International flights into SA will resume today after being suspended for 3 days. It followed a concerning spike in COVID cases in our Medi hotels. But Premier Stephen Marshall says the situation seems to be under control now.
Yesterday we had one new infection, but that was not from somebody arriving in that day, but somebody that's a close contact from a family member. becomes infected several days after their mother, their father, or their brother or sister.
Experts are calling on the federal government to reset the hotel quarantine system while flights from India are suspended. Travel from the COVID-ravaged country has been paused until the 15th of May. The Public Health Association says we need to better manage the risk of airborne transmission and unify the different state systems. There's been a car fire at Dudley Park. A Toyota Kluger station wagon, possibly stolen, was reported burning on Oxenham Street just after 5 this morning. The vehicle has extensive damage. Australia's military bases across the north of the country will be upgraded to the tune of almost $800 million. The move will see runways extended, an overhaul of firing ranges and new training facilities constructed. Home Affairs Minister Karen Andrews says the government will always give Defence the resources it needs.
The announcement that the Prime Minister will be making in Darwin today, the details of which have generally been released, is just one part of making sure that our Defence forces are ready.
Consumer groups are welcoming changes to the test for underperforming superannuation funds. Draft regulations for the changes are being released by the federal government ahead of the rollout in July. Fund administration fees will be included in the test for the first time. Super Consumers Australia Director Xavier O'Halloran says it's a great step forward.
Changes announced today are a real improvement as they include administration fees, which we know have a huge impact on people's savings. But there are still some room for improvement, including the power that the Minister has to actually ban different types of investments or expenditure by super funds. We think there could be a better process around that.
Parents are being urged to check with their child's school if they missed out on an HPV vaccination. The Australian Cervical Cancer Foundation is concerned Years 7 to 12 students have not been adequately protected due to the pandemic. Spokesperson Elizabeth Ham says the sexually transmitted infection is the most common cause of cervical cancer.
We found that over COVID, some of those vaccinations fell behind, and we're trying to make sure we catch up. The organisations that are providing those vaccinations are doing a great job, but because it's a 2-dose, and for some people, if they're over 15, it's a 3-dose course of vaccination, it's really important that they get all the doses they need.
The Queen has carried out her first official public engagement since the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral, Her Majesty holding 2 virtual audiences from Windsor Castle. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Save up to $300 on selected Asco dishwashers at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, home of Mr Dishwasher.
With everything footy, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Yeah, let's begin there. Stand-in Adelaide captain Tom Doedee admits it was frustrating to lose against Hawthorn by less than a kick on Sunday. The Crows led by as much as 32 points in the third quarter, but failed to close it out. Doedee telling David and Will they would have done things differently if they had their time again.
In that fourth quarter, we just played a little bit too much into their hands by kicking long to their numbers a bit too regularly. We probably should have tried to shift the ball a bit more.
The Australian Olympic Committee boss has assured vulnerable Australians won't miss out because athletes are getting priority access. More than 2,000 athletes and staff will be reclassified into the 1B group. It puts them in the same phase of the rollout as older Australians and those with underlying health conditions. Matt Carroll believes most Australians understand why the decision has been made.
People who are required the vaccination of the Pfizer will still get that vaccination of Pfizer, because we're not talking thousands of athletes here to get vaccinated. The Australian Olympic team, the Paralympic team, are going overseas, so it's not as if they're staying in Australia to compete.
7 straight wins for the Sky Blues in the A-League. Sydney FC managing to hold out a tenacious Melbourne victory 1-0. Wimbledon is breaking tradition by scrapping its day of rest on the middle Sunday of the tournament from 2022. Organisers saying technological developments in the care of grass courts means 14 straight days of play is now possible. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, 2nd year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Traffic slow going in quite a few areas this morning on the way to work, including Grand Junction Road at Foster's Road, sluggish Salisbury Highway approaching Eldersmith Road, Anzac Highway at South Road carrying a fair bit of load this morning. Anti-slow going to Southern Expressway to South Road. That's as you leave the expressway around Tonsley. A couple of speed cameras look out for today. Marion Road at Firle and Grange Road, Grange. Making funeral arrangements can be difficult, but you need to talk to Alfred James, your family-owned South Australian funeral directors. Alfred James, the final farewell matters. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
Heading for a top of 22 today and mostly sunny. The same tomorrow, 24, sunny and 26 on Friday. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 to 9. If you're watching along on the 5AA Facebook live stream, you'll see Tom Duday in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us, reflecting on the game in Launceston on the weekend. What was your perspective on the Tom Lynch sub story?
It's become a bit of a topic, hasn't it? Well, I think the biggest thing is that it's been overblown from the perspective that we threw away 4 points, because if you look at it, Will got injured with about 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Lynchy goes down, starts to get ready. He warms up in the third quarter because they're not allowed to kick on the ground, the sub. And then fourth quarter, he comes out as the first rotation, as we would have had him planned anyways. So if you look at it from that angle, in terms of everyone saying we threw away 4 points, it's unprofessional, really, it didn't actually matter that much in the sense of the game. And now there's probably some revision that we should look at and go whether we play someone who's not healthy or whether we play someone who's not strapped. Look, all that sort of stuff we'll look at. But in terms of the grand scheme of things, it really wasn't that big of a miss if you look at it from that perspective.
Just in terms of time on ground. But so do you think there are some concerns about, do you play, if a guy's not fit to go play 4 quarters, but you can sneak him in for 30 maybe, do you reckon you need to reset the risk ratio or what you're willing to accept risk-wise on something like that?
Yeah, potentially. The other angle that hasn't sort of been mentioned enough is getting continuity of games into our other boys, because so Chase Jones was a medical sub, then next week it was Nick Murray, next week Dave McKay, none of them played. So they've missed out on not only on a game of Sample, but a game of AFL as well. So they don't get to play at all. They just have to do a running session. And for someone like Chase, Nick Murray, Josh Worrell, Fisher Maxey, who we're trying to get games into to get them ready for AFL, it's crucial that we don't put them as a medical sub. So to have someone like Lynchy, who we know is experienced, can come in a pinch, albeit he wasn't exactly ready to go in terms of foot, then that's sort of the risk we took. But I think it was sort of overblown in the end.
All right, we've been trying to hold ourselves back, David and I, to get to what is the big good news story out of the weekend. Riley Thilthorpe.
Oh, really? Is that what you... Yeah, I was wondering what you did.
We're trying to be disciplined and ask you all the questions about the difficult stuff. I think every Crows fan, it was probably, in some respects, the happiest loss they've had, because you've got to draft a bloke at 2 who comes in and kicks 5 goals in his first game and just looks he looked everything you'd hope for as a guy picked at that end of the draft. You're at the other end of the ground watching him. You've seen him in training and played the trial games with him. Did he surprise you, or did you just know he had that in him early?
I think 5 was a surprise. I think full credit to anyone who picked that. But in terms of impact on the game, no, because they weren't a bad 5 either. They were some good clunks, some like that crumb that he got and just snapped it. Like there was an impressive 5 goals. But he has come in from day one and just worked hard. Like there's no entitlement being the number 2 pick with him. You would almost look at him as if he was given, mate, work your hardest in this preseason, maybe we'll sign you, the way that he worked. And then to come in and have a preseason that a little bit interrupted, but to then get a full run at it, he's forming the sample, and he also played a bit of wing on the weekend. Don't forget that. He played wing forward, so he's kicked 5, playing a bit of midfield time as well. So we're incredibly proud of how far he's come, and the future's very bright for him.
His foot speed it's kind of legendary in terms of his height. Where does he fit in terms of, if you were having a 100-metre sprint at the club? Is he actually up there, or is it just good for a guy who's about 200-plus centimetres?
He might be just behind me, I reckon. I actually don't know. Because we do like strides before training, but they're sort of monitored depending on...
Sure.
Mate, you've got a bit of tendon stuff, you pull back, you played sample. So I don't really know. We haven't had a full tilt noise. I think Will Hammer would put himself number 1.
Yep.
And then after that, I reckon you got a few sort of lingering around that 2 to 8 range where Riley would probably be in there, I reckon.
Will Hamill, of course, did his ankle. He'll be out. Is there any chance we might see Josh Worrell come up and play his first game this weekend, do you think?
Different roles. So, I don't know, potentially. We've got training tomorrow, and we've got a few little changes here and there that'll probably be happening just because of boys are sore, boys have got some injuries. So there's potential for someone like that to come in, and we'll look at how GWS want to line up too. But that one, can't tell you exactly yet. We'll have to review tomorrow.
All right, speaking of reviews, let's talk Oscars.
Yeah, well, the dude abides.
The dude abides.
Yeah, the dude abides. I tell you what, geez, the ratings weren't great for the Oscars.
Called that.
Yeah, you did actually. The worst ever. Well, it was in the order of some 26 million. Yeah, they got 9 million watching in the US yesterday. That said, the problem was, I think people hadn't seen the films. You've seen them all. You tipped every category, as I understand it. How did you go?
Yeah, I went 17 of 23. I was pretty happy with that.
What's your best? What's the one?
Better than
if
my
you're
6
going to
from 7
brag, if
just
you're going to have a bit of...
Yeah, you ruined our season, mate. Yeah, it's all your fault.
Interesting.
It is my fault.
That was noted at Westlakes, that tip. 6 from 7, unfortunate. 17 from 23. What's the one, if you were to brag to people about a real good one out of the box? What was it that you got?
I tipped a couple editing and sound with Sound of Metal. I picked them. They were the favourite, but I had a bit of an inkling about it just from watching it. The two that I was gutted on though was I had Anthony Hopkins winning over Chadwick Boseman in Best Actor, and I had McDormand winning over Viola Davis in Best Actress.
Yep.
Flipped it last second because the money was heading the other way. Went away
never
from the
change
gut.
your tips on a Friday.
And it actually led to anyone who watched it, and I don't think many did, especially in Australia, but it led to a really awkward ending. Steven Soderbergh produced it. He put Best Picture about 20 minutes before the ending, which is the first time it's happened since 1940, because they thought Chadwick Boseman was going to win for Best Actor. It was going to be a posthumous award. We're going to honour him. It's going to be this whole memorial at the end. And then Anthony Hopkins, the big 83-year-old who didn't attend the ceremony because he doesn't give a stuff about the Oscars, wins it. And then they had this awkward ending where Joaquin Phoenix is presenting it with no emotion, and they do this memorial for Boseman even though he didn't win, and it was just like the most... it was weird.
I heard something today. I was listening to a podcast, and there was some suggestion that Olivia Colman was slated to do I'll Receive It on behalf of Sir Anthony Hopkins. And Joaquin Phoenix was so uninterested in the whole process, he just went,
I think so.
I'll just take it and we'll just get to move on with the show.
Yeah, I think someone was meant to accept it on his behalf,
Yeah.
but he just had nothing about him. He's a bit like Penberthy this morning, to be honest. It was quite concerning to watch.
That's fair enough.
Similar
Fair
hair.
enough.
What was that movie he did recently with the beard? And
Joaquin?
Yeah, Joaquin.
I don't mind being compared to him.
Joker's when he won it last year. He looks a bit like him as well.
He looked all right in the Johnny Cash film.
Yeah, Walk the Line.
Walk the Line.
Yeah, a great film.
He's a great actor. He's just not such a great presenter of awards.
No, he's got some work to do there. Yeah. And we'll give him that feedback.
Yeah, that's important. Hey, great to have you in.
Thanks,
good to chat. And all the best for the weekend.
Appreciate it.
We won't get David to make a tip, so there's no jinx.
Stay out of that. Stay out of that, Pember. Thanks, boys.
Leader Computers, Australia's largest PC and server manufacturer, built and serviced right here in Adelaide. Let's check traffic thanks to Dave Potter. Enjoy huge savings and factory bonuses on the 2021 HRV. Australia's #1. That's Dave Potter Honda.
Look out for praying this morning at Elizabeth East, Main North Road near Midway Road. Multi-vehicle collision there, city-bound delays. Busy in quite a few spots today. Salisbury Highway approaching Eldersmith Road. Pretty sluggish Regency Road at Main North Road. Also slow going this morning, Port Road at South Road. And carrying quite a bit of heavy load this morning, Sturt Road from Morphet Road as well. Say hello to Smarter Home Loan Advice with Smartline. Their mortgage brokers will help you choose the right loan or refinance options from over 30 lenders. Visit smartline.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. When you need a forklift, don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Get the world's #1 forklift brand. Get legendary Toyota reliability. Get world-leading safety and get it from toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For sales, service and hire, get a Toyota forklift.
Take out a new home loan with Credit Union SA and you get to choose cashback or
a really low rate.
you can also choose to apply online, over the phone, in branch or we'll come to you. Credit Union SA, awarded Australia's best small credit union in 2020 by Mozo. We're like a bank, but better. For a limited time only, conditions, fees and lending criteria apply. Offer available for new business only where the LVR is 80% or less. Minimum loan amounts and exclusions apply to each offer.
Hearing Australia.
Hi, I'd like to ask about hearing aids, please.
Sure, but why are we whispering?
So we don't disturb the fish.
Oh, right. Our range includes hearing aids that can be so discreet people probably won't realise you're wearing one. And for eligible pensioners under the Hearing Services Program, there are 3 device choices to choose from that are free. And we will care for your hearing for life.
Got 'em, you beauty!
Hearing Australia. Discover the secret to celebrating sound in your life. Call 134432 or 134 HERE today.
The best of both worlds. That's all anyone ever wants, even in retirement. With Southern Cross Care, you can have exactly that and live between the coast and the city at their wonderful O'Grady Court community in North Plympton.
There's affordable one-bedroom units starting from $85,900. They feature open-plan living, modern kitchens and spacious bathrooms. Plus, you'll also have access to services next door at the Pines Health and Wellness Centre and to the vibrant on-site community centre of John Martin House.
Not only is this where many social and community groups gather, it's also the beautiful Bluestone building, an original home of the John Martin family, but extended and refurbished for use by residents.
For more information about O'Grady Court, visit southerncrosscare.com.au or call 1800 852 772. That number again, 1800 852 772.
This is a first, which makes it doubly good. When you have a home battery installed by Westside Energy, they'll double your feed-in tariff. Get a home battery connected to your current solar system, or have a whole new solar system installed plus a home battery, and Westside Energy will double the current average feed-in tariff. Double your feed-in tariff and eliminate your current electricity bill. That's right, $0 electricity bills. Visit westsideenergy.com.au. T's and C's apply.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
12 to 9, behind closed doors coming up in just a moment.
We are joined in the studio now by the Shadow Attorney General, Kaya Ma, who's actually here today, not in his capacity as the holder of that portfolio, but as almost as a private citizen, because this is a matter of conscience and it's something that South Australia's Parliament has discussed many times, 17 times previously, in fact, the question of whether we should embrace voluntary euthanasia laws. Kyan, thanks for coming in. Good to see you.
Good morning, Dave, and good morning, Will.
So we have been here before. I think 2016 from memory, the vote was tied 23-all in the lower house, and then the Speaker used his casting vote in keeping with convention to knock it off. What makes you think the result could potentially be different this time, Kyan?
Yeah, you're right. This is something we've discussed in South Australia a lot. Since 1995, there have been 16 different bills put before the Parliament. I think what makes it very different this time, Dave, is we won't be the first. Every other time that there's been legislation before the SA Parliament, it would have made South Australia the first state to legalise voluntary assisted dying. Now, if it passes in SA, we will follow Victoria, who've had a scheme in operation for 18 months, WA, who have passed legislation. A scheme will start later this year, and Tasmania just a couple of weeks ago passed legislation. So I think the big difference is we won't be the first in Australia, and with the scheme operating, many of the concerns that people have had haven't come to fruition in Victoria, and I think that puts a lot of people's minds, particularly those in Parliament.
So is your bill the most stringent and conservative that will have ever been before the South Australian Parliament? Does it closely mirror the Victorian model, where there are, I think, 68 different safeguards that people have to satisfy before they go through with such a momentous decision?
Yeah, that's right. So it is almost identical to the Victorian bill, where there are 68 separate hurdles or safeguards. I think Sandra Kank yesterday, a former Australian Democrat member of the SA Parliament, was reflecting a bill of hers some time ago was 6 pages. This is 60 pages long. It is as safeguarded, I think, as we can possibly make. And again, I think that puts a lot of people's mind at ease.
I'm a supporter of legislation, always have been. So's Dave. We've talked about it on the program previously. The concerns we get on the text line, though, are probably worth addressing, and you would have heard all this before, but the two most common that we've got this morning have been people that have said, A, it sends the wrong message insofar as it suddenly suggests that death is a way out of pain, and people might interpret that wrongly. The other is that it would lead to scenarios whereby family members might pressure someone to go down this path. How does the legislation prevent against those sorts of things, or guard against them?
So in terms of the second one you raised, that,
yes,
that there might be coercion or pressure put on by family members, I think the head of the review board for the scheme in Victoria, a retired Supreme Court Judge Betty King, has said she's looked for evidence of that and she just can't find any. And in fact, in her experience, it's almost the opposite, that when someone at the very end of their life is suffering great pain and wants to use voluntary assisted dying, it's often the kids trying to initially talk them out of it. Want their loved ones to stick around, even if they're in pain for as long as possible, but almost inevitably understand what people want for that. And I've answered that now. I've forgotten what your first one was.
So the first one is I guess, a broader philosophical question about, what message does it send to people about death as a way out?
Yeah, I think that's answered by, in South Australia at the moment, under our Consent to Medical Treatment Act, if you're in great pain, a doctor can give you medication that causes death as long as the primary objective is to give you comfort. So at the moment, you can be prescribed something, and a doctor, knowing that it will inevitably cause your death, as long as that's secondary to providing you comfort. And also, if a patient has a condition that they're going to die from, they can refuse medical treatment, and a doctor has to abide by that. So I think that they call that passive assisted dying, where you can refuse the intervention. So it is something we already confront at the moment, that patients can do things that will hasten or cause their death at the moment.
One of the other provisos, as I understand it, Kym, is that you would only ever be able to end your life within 6 months of the expected date of your death. So if you've been told by a doctor you've got 6 months, 4 months, 3 months to live, it's only at that point, except with the exception being neurodegenerative conditions such as MND or what have you, that's a 12-month limit. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. So under our legislation that mirrors the Victorian legislation, you've got to have a first doctor with a diagnosis of 6 months to live, or for a neurodegenerative disease, 12 months. And then you've got to have a second doctor who's a specialist in that area give you the same diagnosis before you can even be considered.
Do you need a psychiatrist as well?
The doctors have to satisfy themselves that you have the mental capacity to understand the nature and effect of your decision, and if there's any doubt of that, you have to be referred for a specialist.
Is mental health eligible? Because some people have texted saying, does this mean that people who are suffering from depression can go down that path?
Absolutely not. The legislation makes it exceptionally clear, spells it out, that mental health or a disability by themselves do not qualify you for this.
We had a couple of other people that said, why not invest more in palliative care? Now, strikes me as a somewhat separate issue, but are we doing enough in that area as well?
So we could always do more. We had a committee of the South Australian Parliament that went for 18 months that preceded this bill going into Parliament, and certainly that was something we heard a lot about. And the evidence right around Australia, in Victoria, in WA, and they're considering it in Queensland, is it seems to follow that when voluntary assisted dying comes in, there's an increase in funding for palliative care. They are different things, but palliative care is exceptionally important. Everyone will have an experience of a loved one at the end of their life, and palliative care is a critical part of our health system.
Kombat, the Shadow Attorney General and the sponsor of, the 18th? The 18th?
The 17th. I think 16
the 17th.
Different bills, and
17th
this is
bill.
the 17th time.
May the 5th is the vote in the upper house, then it will proceed to the House of Assembly. Kombat, thank you very much for joining us this morning in the studio. And to everyone with a view on this, we are up against it time-wise now, but your opinions are of value to us, whether you're for it, against it,
absolutely,
or undecided, and we'll keep the debate going tomorrow and in coming shows into the future. Thanks, Colin.
What's the trusted Australian off-roading brand made for Australian conditions? TJM. They know the South Australian bush because it's their backyard, just as it's yours. So who better to give the best advice on what equipment you need? Whether you're a novice or an experienced off-roader, see the TJM team. They stand by their products and have been doing it since 1973. Get into TJM today and get off-road tomorrow. Nailsworth and Clovelly Park, tjmsa.com.au.
This commercial really should have your business name in it, because it'll be heard a lot over 2 weeks. On the way to work, dropping the kids at school and picking them up, you'll hear it on the drive home too. It's part of the FIVEaa branding program, designed to get your business maximum exposure for minimal bucks. And it works, because you, along with thousands of others, are hearing it right now. Visit FIVEaa.com.au and replace this commercial with your commercial.
This time last year, David and I visited the Vinnie's Men's Crisis Centre and were shocked to learn that in SA alone, more than 6,000 men, women and children are without a safe place to sleep each night.
That's right, it really hit home and it prompted me to sign up for the Vinnie's CEO Sleep Out. Well, this year, we've passed the baton on to another of our 5AA colleagues, Katie Bridges, who is passionate about helping raise awareness about homelessness and the great work that Vinnies do.
The boss. And remember, you don't have to be a CEO to get involved. Vinnie's is calling on all business and community leaders to sleep out and get a glimpse of homelessness while raising funds to help Vinnie's prepare for an increase in the number of people facing a future without a safe place to sleep.
The Vinnie's CEO Sleep Out will be held at Lot 14 in the Adelaide CBD on June 17. Sign up now at ceosleepout.org.au.
Did you know that the Reject Shop has your grocery essentials at Australia's cheapest prices? Including 500-gram Beyondy assorted pasta, only 50 cents each. For the cheapest snacks and groceries, it's got to be the Reject Shop, where we guarantee cheapest prices every day.
At Bob Jane T-Marts, there's deals for safer holiday driving. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
3 to 9 and it's time to go behind closed doors thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed...
This is Mike Keelan's Gardening Show on 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
Right, and good morning. Michael Keelan with you, and good morning to Angie McBride.
Well, I don't, because I'm like, what? Good morning, Michael.
And beautiful day, Anzac Day.
Tell us what it was like, Michael, back when you were 19, because, and you had to register for national service.
Oh, yes, right.
So how did you go waiting for the call-up, knowing that at any moment you could be sent off to Gallipoli?
Right, well, I didn't really, because I'd now have to be 126 years old.
Oh, so you were too young.
That's one way of putting it, Angie, yeah.
8223 0000, and Sam's called, Michael.
Right, hello, Sam.
Oh, g'day, Michael and Angie.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Michael, I'm having a big problem with ants. I just can't seem to get rid of them.
Right, yeah, they are a big problem, but there are a lot of ways to get rid of them. You might not kill them, but you can move them on.
All right.
Flooding them, that's a good way to go.
All right, okay. I've also got a lot of beetles.
Oh, well, drowning is a great way to go for beetles.
Drowning, okay, great.
And thanks for your call.
Michael, I don't like to kill ants, but is it okay to kill ants or not? Because, killing them seems to be the best way to get rid of them.
Well, look, Angie, there's millions of ants, so a bit of collateral damage doesn't really matter. You're not going to wipe out the entire ant population of the world, and I've always said that killing things when there's plenty of them is perfectly okay. Kill a few of them and they get the message and the rest move on.
All right, okay.
As kids, we used to put plaster of Paris down their hole and then water it, and then that would go hard, and of course the ants would be trapped underground, and we would then laugh maniacally and rub our hands together and do a death dance around a small fire after drawing a pentagram on the ground and saying a prayer to the Prince of Darkness.
Oh, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, I'm really hoping I don't come back as an ant, because it would be a terrifying way to live.
Remember when we used to have incinerators in the backyard?
Oh, yes, fantastic.
My brother used to burn caterpillars.
Oh, they were great days, weren't they?
But he didn't become a serial killer, though.
Oh, he didn't?
No.
Oh, that's good, isn't it? I remember there was an incinerator called a heatcrete. Fantastic thing. They sold thousands of them, and we burnt everything in those days. Give us a call now and tell us what you burnt.
Oh, yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah, if you burnt bodies, don't tell us that.
No.
Keep that bit a secret, but tell us about all the other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a mini crematorium.
Oh, Michael.
Oh, no. It's a fun show, this, isn't it?
We are out of time on this Wednesday morning. Leon Biner coming up in just a moment.
We've got a mountain of texts about the Olympian issue that we are going to get to tomorrow, for and against the comments that we made. So we're going to hang on to them and get stuck into that in the morning, because it's going to continue as an issue. See you then, folks.